Good morning, guys. So we'll start session in a few minutes. So agenda will be completely, we collected all the interview questions from the students, like where they faced and they failed in a couple of interviews. So all those interview questions we collected. So we'll start session in a few minutes. So the collected interview questions we gathered and we made as a compiled file, and only those we are going to be discussed. Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions also, we can discuss. Like you face the interview and you are not able to answer, particularly scenario based questions and different companies interview questions, right? So where you are lost the interview. So all those questions we can discuss today. And also, like we can explain about our clear by entry tool. So lot many people who got a multiple offers, they it helps them. So clear my entry tool as well. You can join that session too.
Hello, Santosh.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Santosh. Srivatsa here. Am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so this session is all about the queries we had while attending interviews, and it's like discussing forth, right? And this is going to be a session about interview questions and all.
Just a minute.
Sure.
So basically, we'll divide the session into three parts. So the first part, I'll tell you what is expectations from the panel and what type of questions that we get it. And then the next part, I'll completely take control of all the interview questions, what has been asked in all the interviews. I'll be giving the answers. That will cover most of the questions. And then later, in the last part, if you have any unique questions that has been asked in any of your interviews, then you can open up your questions that I'll tell you how to answer. So we'll divide that into three parts. All good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just give me one more minute. Just waiting for a few more to join. So just give us one more minute.
Hey guys, meanwhile, anyone have questions before going to actual class?
Any questions before we get started?
No, Santosh.
Am I spoiling your Sunday?
Not at all.
Okay.
After the class, we will find this recording video on,
Yeah, you
right?
will have it. You will have it. Yes. Okay. So, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. So, today we have planned for 2 hours, but I'm sure I'll not complete in 2 hours. So, I'm setting up the expectations before itself. So, it may exceed 2 hours as well, but I'm promising you that this will be really worth. Okay. So, the session which we are going to take today will be really worth. Anytime you go for an interview, you can always watch this recording and then go for an interview, right? So the reason why we have gathered here is all about one of the demanding technology. Data engineering is in demand, but unfortunately from the panel side or from the company side, we are not getting talented people, or we are not getting the resources who knows these things, right? So there is a lot of things that is happening in the market. Like, we have people who are just mastering data engineering in 1 week, 10 days, and they just want job. So it's not possible, right? You need to have a complete knowledge to work in companies. Now, let me tell you, there are two things. What you work in the real time and what they ask in interview will be bit different, right? So it's not like whatever you will be doing, everything they will cover, no, or whatever they will be covering in interview, everything you will work in real time, no. So it is all about the panel and you, how they ask questions and how you answer, right? So in today's session, we'll mainly focus on what is the expectations from the panel and what type of questions they may ask and how you need to answer it. Okay. Now, as part of the agenda, I'll be talking about the flow. How are we going to handle this 120 minutes? With my experience, I'm going to give you some of tips. I was a person and grateful enough to tell you that I have taken thousands of interviews and I have attended hundreds of interviews. With this experience, we have come across a list of questions, what type of questions, how we have to answer, and what is the expectations, everything I'll be covering. Then, as and then, this is for data engineers. So, those who are willing to join or learn, or who have already learned and ready for the interviews, you will be the right audience. For the other guys, data scientists or data analyst, you may not get the complete context, but still this could be a beginning for you. So you can get to know that how the questions would come. So everyone will prepare and then look for questions. For the people who don't know data engineering, you will be getting the questions first and then you will be learning. So that is one thing which you can think about this. And finally, we'll have a mock interview. When I say mock interview, I'll act like a panel and I'll be giving the answers as well. Okay. So that will be the flow. So please listen, and it's really worth. Okay. So try to grasp as much as knowledge, and when you watch a movie the first time, it will be interesting, right? So think like is a 2 hours movie where you will be getting to know how you need to present your answers. Okay. So those who guys have joined newly and who don't know about me, myself Santosh, I do have about 11 years of experience working in IT, and all 11 years of experience I've been working into data science, data engineering, and data analytics, and I've done enough of projects. That enough is 80 plus. So 80 plus projects I've done in my experience, and the last 6 7 years I've been involved in training, and that in KSR data vision. So this is a small intro. So in terms of the agenda, this session, it's not free actually. We need your 120 minutes of your concentration and focus. That's the fees. Okay. The fees is as simple. We need your concentration and we need your focus. So 2 hour session will be focusing on the data engineering questions, and the benefits that you get out of this is as simple as that. Before going for any interview, watch this session and go. Okay. Now, I'll share my experience here. Before that, let's have some ground rules. We have a good number of people, so let's try to maintain your audio and video. Okay. Definitely, if I want to see you, I'll ask you to enable the video. But as of now, you can disable both of your audio and video. So this session will be available throughout your like portal, like you will be able to access this. So let's have some sort of discipline here. If you have any special questions or any questions, note it down at this point of time, and you can ask towards me end. Okay. And also most of you may know it or may not know it. So we are trying to cover up from the basics to advanced level, and most importantly, please be on mute. I'll definitely give you a chance to ask each one of you to ask your questions towards the end, but have patience, ask your questions towards the end. Now with that, let's get started. One thing, before even you go for an interview, remember this: interview is not about how many right answers you give, right? Don't always think that you will be selected or rejected with a number of right answers. No. In my personal experience, I have rejected a people who have answered all 10 out of 10. I have done this. I have done this. The guys who have answered 10 out of 10, I have rejected them. And the guys who have answered 5 out of 10, I have also selected them. So it's not about how many right answers. It's not like an examination where your passing mark will be decided based on the number of right answers. No, we are in the different culture, and the market expectations is well above your exams. So never think that, okay, you come out of your interview, oh, I've answered 10 questions and out of 11, I've answered 10, I'll get selected. No, it's not like that, right? So you need to know how you need to manage the interview. Very simple. If you know how to manage the interview, you will clear it. Always think that your brain is not a AI to answer all the questions. Some answers you may know it, some answers you may not know it, some answers you may go blank, some answers you may not even remember, some answers may be very unique. You may not even have read even once. There could be a case, right? So don't think that your brain is a AI to answer all the questions. But you need to know how to manage the interview. Even if you don't know the answer, how you need to manage the interview. That's the first step, right? Now, you can have hopes in life, but don't have hopes on interviews. Okay? Don't always go and sit in the interview. I have to clear this. That's you're putting pressure on yourself. Just attend, it's another day, it's another chance. um, I mean, it's a saying there is that if it's coming, let it come. If it not, it's fine. There are hundreds of companies, thousands of interviews can be there. This is not the end of the world, right? If you don't clear this interview, this is not the end of the world, right? If you don't clear this, okay, another chance. Something will always be there. Personal experience, to get into Microsoft, I failed 50 interviews. To be precise, 53 interviews. So the failure of 53 interviews made me to get an offer that was 54th offer, that was Microsoft. So every time I fail, I used to learn something, right? So I've never stopped at my first interview. Okay, I failed it. No, I am not coming to a judgment like, okay, this is not my cup of tea. No, I kept trying, I kept learning, right? That is where I was able to capture that big fish. Similarly, you're also, if there is any failure, if you have not cleared any interview, have patience, keep trying, keep learning, right? Now, I always believe in one thing, okay? I've come from an engineering background. Most of you are from engineering background, right? Particularly, I'm from a Bangalorean college. So in Bangalore, if you talk about a particular university, what is a engineering pattern, like engineering questions, right? They'll give you 8 questions. They'll give you 8 questions, and they'll ask you to answer 5. This is what it is, okay? The recent passed out graduates, you should know better. If you're applying for an engineering exams, they'll ask you 8 questions, and they'll ask you answer any 5. Now, in this 8 questions, you will have sub questions like one question, part A, part B, part C, part A, part B, part C, part A, part B, part C. So, like this, you will have. So, you can answer any 5, and each question, sub questions will have a sub marks like 5 marks, 10 marks, 20 marks. So, overall, if you answer 5 questions, you will apply for 100 marks. Okay. Now, this is an engineering pattern. Now, honestly, tell me, those who guys have completed engineering, did you learn the complete book? Every single page, did you master it? Anyone? Anyone?
No.
No. The way you learnt is different. I'll tell my experience, okay? Say I'm a college topper, but I never read every single page. I played smart. You know what I did? Last 5 to 6 years of question papers I took, the previous seniors, super seniors, super seniors, I collected all the question papers from them. I was seeing the pattern. What is the most repeated question that we get? And what is that one question which is being asked in every year? I read only that. This is called smart learning. This is called smart learning. Okay, never ever go and try to learn the complete book. It's impossible. You're putting an overload on your brain. Why don't you apply the same logic here, yaar? You attend 5 interviews, you'll get 50 questions, do a document, find an answer, go prepare for the next interview. Again, you go for another interview, again, you get the questions, again, you list it out, again, prepare it. Keep on collecting the questions, and that's what I did. And finally, in the last interview, all the questions which you have listed, all the questions you have prepared will only be asked. That is how you have to prepare. Don't try to read the complete data engineering, which is impossible. Even I have not done that in my 11 years of experience. If you ask me what percentage of data engineering I know in my experience, hardly 30 to 40%. I'm never portraying that I know 100% data engineering. No, not everyone knows, because every day new technology, new framework, new problems are occurring. How can I call myself as a perfect, right? But one thing is important is you may be perfect in subject, but if you don't know how to present, that's very much going to be trouble for you. I have a lot of experience in seeing the students. They have mastered all the assignments, homeworks, projects, everything they have done. When they go and sit in front of the panel, they blank out. The company or the panel doesn't go and research about you and come and say that, okay, let me select this person. No. That 1 hour what you're going to present in front of the panel is going to be judging point. You may be done n number of things, you would have done number of things. See, for example, if I go and tell my panel, I've done 80 projects in my career, can you select me? Why will he select? You would have done maybe 10 projects, I would have done 80 projects. Do you think number of projects matters to get selected? No. What you present, how you present, your presentation skills is the key. Okay, and as simple as that, try to have confidence. Your confidence can beat anything on any single day. We are not looking for your correct, accurate answers, but you're looking for your confidence. How confident are you in answering, right? Or your body language, your gestures, everything matters. Okay. Now, with all that, let's get into one small process that we are going to follow now. Okay, so this is a context. Okay, so this is something which I've given you as an interview tips. So let's try to get into one particular example how you need to handle the interviews. Okay, now apart from my data engineering skill, if you ask me one thing, I'm very good at mono acting. Do you guys know what is mono acting? In your childhood days, in your colleges, in your schools, you would have played this, or as part of your curriculum, as part of your extra activities, you would have had this. Do you know what is mono acting?
You
Yes.
you do all the acting on your own. Like there won't be any other person. All the roles
Yes.
will be played by you,
Correct.
right?
So it's like a multi-role. Okay. I'll be playing a role. I'll be playing a role. That is, I will act like a hero as well. I'll act like a villain as well, right? I'll speak from this side. I'll speak from that side. Okay. So it's a Sunday morning. So I'll not be able to open up my video, but still think that there are two people who are speaking. One will be panel, one will be candidate. Okay, so I'll play a role of panel and I will play a role of candidate. Okay, Now, the way the questions or the way the interview has been designed is anyone who is experienced from 1 to 15. Anyone who is having experience from 1 to 15 years, this will be applicable for you. Above 15, maybe you need to improve the standardizing your answer and it has to be more clear. But whoever is between 1 to 15, this is completely applicable. And in this 1 to 15, what I'm talking is a total experience. Is total experience, okay? Now, in this, let's imagine that your data engineering experience is about 5 years. Okay, so there are a lot of people who are in this range. So we are taking an experience of about 5 years, okay? So your total experience can be anything from 1 to 15 and your data engineering experience could be from about 5 years, okay? Now, what I'm going to do, I am going to consider myself as a candidate now who has 10 years of experience and imagine that I'm working in TCS. Okay, imagine that I'm working in TCS. The reason I'm taking TCS is I never want to work for TCS. Okay, that's the reason I'm taking TCS as an example. Now, in the 10 years of my experience, let's focus that my data engineering experience is 5 years. Okay, so about half of my experience is in data engineering. So this is something like I'll be playing as a role which is candidate. Okay, now let's see who's the panel. So panel is, let's take an experienced person, maybe senior manager, and let's assume that he has some 15 years of experience in, IT engineering, whatever it is. Okay, so this too, I'll be playing a role. I'll be playing a role as a candidate and I'll be playing as a role of panel. Okay, so this is the first part. Now the second part, as I said, I will have to put everyone on mute, so you'll not be able to ask any questions for the next at least 1.5 hours. So I'll be making sure that you have, it's as simple as that. I don't want to get that interruption in between. So sorry for that. So you'll not be able to unmute yourself and ask question for at least next 40-45 minutes. I'll try to see how it goes, but you'll not be able to ask any questions. If you have any questions, note it down right away and then we can talk later about that. Okay, now let's get into this part. What we have done, we have generated all these interview questions which was asked in most of the reputed companies from most of our past students, those who have learned data engineering from us. And I take a lot of interviews in data engineering. I have given interview, right? One rule in KSR is whether you are going to apply or not, you will have to go and sit in interview so that you get to know what is the trend and what is the market expecting. So we have listed down all the questions. So the number of questions that we will be discussing today will be, goes on, 220. Okay. So about 219 or 220 questions we'll be discussing here. So how the process will go is, I will read out the question. That question, it's like a panel who is asking. And as a candidate, how I will answer it. Okay. That's how it goes. So I don't know how much time it is going to take to give all the question and answers. Now, think carefully how to answer and be prepared. Okay. See, you watch this session before going for any interview. I can give in a written document that you will come with an offer. That is my promise. That is my promise. Before going to interview, you watch this video, you come and go and sit in the interview, you will come back with an offer. That is a promise I'm giving you. Okay. Now, let's get started. Just for my tracking, I'll also keep a track of stopwatch. If I don't have a stopwatch, I can even speak for 4 hours also. So let's have a speed control here. So I will try to check how much time I'm able to complete this questions. Okay. Now let's get started. Tell me about yourself. First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. As you know from my resume, myself, Santosh, I do have about 10 years of experience and currently working with TCS. And for the last 5 years, I've been involved in data engineering projects. My primary skill sets are SQL, PL SQL, Python, PySpark, Azure services, and I've also involved right from the requirement gathering until deploying the pipelines. I've been involved in every phase of the project. So currently I'm working for one of the insurance based client, which is a US client, which is called Target. So Target is an insurance based client. Here we are getting the data in the form of a flat files, Excel files, JSON files. And here the main objective was to come up with a one centralized data warehousing system. And we were getting the data from different systems, and we have used Azure Data Factory for the orchestration and Databricks for the heavy lifting transformations. And finally, we have dumped into a Azure SQL database as a target layer. There we have built the system, and finally we are showcasing this to a BI reporting, and the data flows from flat files, on-prem files to BI reporting. So this is about myself and my current project. What was your business problem statement? So currently in the client where I'm working, which is an insurance based, here the biggest challenge is we don't have any centralized system. The data is scattered across different sectors. Few data we are getting from on-prem, few data we are getting from flat files, Excel files, JSON files. So we are not able to do a one centralized report. If my leadership team is asking, can you tell me how much revenue that we have got generated for the last quarter? We don't have an answer because the data is scattered. So the main problem was we did not have a single source of system, and that was the problem statement. And we as a data engineers wanted to solve this. We wanted to come up with a one centralized system where it is very helpful for data science people to build model, and it is also very good for data analytics people for doing BI reporting. So that was my problem statement. Can you explain the architecture of your project? Yes, in my project, the data was coming from different systems in the form of flat files, JSON files, XML files, on-prem files, and some of the data we were also getting from APIs, which is a web. And here we are using Azure services, and particularly we are following medallion architecture. And this architecture we have designed in Azure services, Azure Data Factory for the orchestration, Azure Databricks for heavy lifting transformations, Azure Key Vault for storing the secrets and passwords. And we have also used Azure Data Lake Storage for the medallion, where we have three different type of folders: bronze, gold, and silver. And finally, we are dumping into Azure SQL database, where we are building an entire data warehousing system. So to answer your question, the data goes from flat files, on-prem files to ADF. From ADF, we are dumping into ADLS, and then for heavy lifting transformation, it goes to Databricks, and followed by it goes to Azure SQL database. So that's the architecture, and to be precise, we are using medallion architecture. Can you walk me through the step-by-step implementation? Yes. Initially, we started going through a BRD. So BRD, we had all the requirements that was documented. So once we get the requirements, we start looking for the source team. Since the data is scattered across different sectors, we used to find out who's the point of contact for every data source. And then comes like we have to build the architecture diagram, like we have to come up with a pictorial representation, like how the data is moving from one system to another system. And then followed by we are using Azure Data Factory and Databricks as the two heavy lifters for the transformations. And finally, we are pushing that into a relational database. So this was the step by step. But the way we proceeded is once we do a requirement analysis, then we check with the source team, we do a data profiling, data validation, and comes with the implementation, followed by we are also going with testing, and we are also implementing this with the help of CI/CD pipeline. So the last project was typically about 8 to 12 months that we have taken right from the requirement until deploying. We were able to do this. So that is the step-by-step implementation. If I want to speak with you in more technical terms, so we have a process. We have used parameters for parameterizing the dynamic values. We have created link services. We have created the integration runtime for execution. So all of this we have done. So that's the step-by-step implementation. How do you get the data to your project? So for my project, I'm getting the data from different files in the form of CSV, JSON, XML, API, on-prem. Majority of the data we are also getting from NoSQL database, which is MongoDB and Cassandra DB. And finally, we are getting in a Parquet file as well. So all these are the source of my project. And finally, we wanted to come up with one centralized system. So that was the objective. Particularly for the insurance based, we were getting the data from patients, customers, and we do have the policy information. We have the policy that has been from that has been given to different geography, different locations. So we also had a cross product, like if a person is buying one policy, what is the chance that he'll buy the other policy? So all of this information is what that we used to get it for our project. How frequently you get this data? So it all depends in what scenario they're working. In my project, we're working on two sub categories. Like we were working for real-time streaming as well as a batch processing. For batch processing, we used to get the data weekly and sometimes alternative weeks. And there are a few dimension tables that we get it on monthly basis. But there are some data that we were doing a real-time streaming analysis. We were getting as early as every day. What is your data warehouse size? In the last project, which I was working for an insurance, it was about 6 terabytes. So the overall data warehouse size, including the fact tables and dimension tables, it was about 6 terabytes. So this is the overall size. Actually, the 6 terabytes looks like not that big. Then why did you guys move to cloud? You could have done this data engineering project in on-prem only. Why did you guys move to the cloud? 6 terabytes is not that big. That's true. 6 terabyte is not that big, but we were working for a single line of business. That's why you see a shorter set or maybe the smaller data set. But once we do this project, we are trying to replicate this to a larger set of data. And we are just, as part of this project, we are just doing it for last 5 years of data. So from 2020 to 2025 of data is what we have it. So once this project is scalable and once this project is working fine in the production, we have a plan of migrating all the other data sources, all the last 15 years of data, we are trying to migrate it. So maybe in future, this may increase to, who knows, even 50 terabytes. But as part of this project, it is 6 terabytes. So to answer your question, yes, it's less, but we are focusing on single line of business and that's why it's less. And why are we moving to cloud? We are also thinking about future. In future, the data will not reduce. 100% it is going to increase. So for every increase in the data, we need to have a system which can manage it. And that's why we are moving to cloud. How much of data you receive on the incremental basis? So since the entire data warehousing is about 6 terabytes, about 8 to 10% we receive on daily basis or weekly basis. So about 300 to 400 GB that we get it on incremental basis. New records, new transactions, it's about 10%. How many dimension tables and fact tables you had in your project? In my project, I had about 15 to 16 dimension tables and 2 to 3 fact tables. Just to put you on another insight, dimension tables was fixed. It was not much changing, but fact tables had the business logics, key metrics, all of this we had. So it was about 2 to 3 fact tables we had. Which schema you have used? So the schema was decided once we got all the data and we have figured out that all the dimension tables and fact tables, how it is properly related. So what we figured out is it was a snowflake schema. So in snowflake schema, some of the dimension tables will be connected to another dimension tables without the involvement of the fact table. So that is how we got as a schema in our project. There will be another question. What is the difference between star schema and snowflake schema? So the star schema is a schema in which if all the dimension tables are connected to a fact table, and snowflake schema is a schema in which some of the dimension tables could be interconnected with other dimension tables without the involvement of fact table. How many rows you had in your project? So in my last project, the data that I had was about 15 to 16 million. That's the typical size. As you know, right, every day the data changes, but we cannot give an we cannot give an exact value, but at a high level I can say it was about 15 to 16 million rows. How many rows that you receive on a daily basis? On a daily basis, I get about 300K records because it's a policy information, transaction information. And as I said in the beginning that we are dealing with a single line of business. For single line of business, we are getting about 300 to 400K. Have you worked on real-time streaming? Yes, in my current project, I got a chance to work with both batch processing as well as a real-time processing. So real-time processing is as simple as that the data keeps generating every single day. It's like your CCTV camera, it keeps on sending you images, or it could be like sensors, it keeps on sending you the signals. So those type of records, that also we got it. So one we got is from the application. Whenever you open a insurance application, you go and fill some form, that message has to be collected at the receiving end. So that's why we were able to do that in the real-time streaming analysis. And for that, I've used Spark streaming. Also, I've used Azure streaming analysis. How many devices is connected to IoT Hub, and how many messages that you are getting on hourly basis? Well, we were able to connect for the entire single line of business application. That is, we were able to connect the IoT applications. IoT applications is nothing but the smartphones. Once you open our website in the smartphones, immediately we'll have to get the message. So we were getting about 300 million messages. That's a typical number. Have you used both ADF and Databricks in the same project? Yes, I've used both in the same project. So Azure Data Factory I've used this for the orchestration, and where we have done basic level transformations, basic level cleaning, modeling, and Databricks was completely for heavy lifting. So when I say heavy lifting, it was for Spark implementation, and we have also been involved in writing the complex transformations in Databricks. How do you get the requirement? So requirement, we used to get it from the business requirement document, which is a document that has been prepared from the client side. And we also start adding the versioning. And apart from that, in the recent times, we started using Azure DevOps tool, which is basically every issue, production issue, requirements, analysis, enhancements, everything they raises as a tickets. So we work on the ticket basis. On the ticket basis, if there is any new requirement, they'll get us a ticket, and that ticket will have all the information like what needs to be done, and then we start focusing on implementation. So we get the requirement the ticket basis. How do you run your pipelines? How do you schedule your execution of pipelines? Well, initially we were using ADF triggers, but now we switched on our gaze and we are using logic apps. So logic apps is one automated tool which can automate most of your work. So we have scheduled time to run on a particular interval, and for that logic apps was very helpful in running your pipelines. What type of transformations you have done in your project? So since I'm working for an insurance based here, we wanted to track what is the percentage, what is the claim ratio, and how much percentage of people are actually buying the products, how many are dropping off, how many are not paying, how many are paying. So all of this we wanted to calculate at the business level. End of the day, we wanted to share all of this metric to BI team. So that is where like I was mainly involved in providing the transformations, and all of the transformations we were able to do it in PySpark in Databricks. What is your project architecture? Project architecture, I've used medallion architecture, but if I want to explain in detail, we have used Azure Data Lake Storage, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Logic Apps, Streaming Analytics, IoT Hub, Azure SQL databases, Synapses for creating one centralized data warehousing system, and finally, the BI team is also using Power BI for reporting. So that's the architecture. The data flows from ADLS to ADF, ADF to Databricks, Databricks to transformation layer. From the transformation, we push it back into Azure SQL database. Since you told that you're working in a Databricks project, can you tell me what is a cluster size? Well, cluster size is not fixed actually, because we'll have to take care of a lot of steps here. So I can say a rough number like 256 clusters, but honestly the 256 is not a fixed number, because if the load is increasing, we can still go with more than 256 nodes, or it can be more than that. So one cluster, it was about 250 odd. But as I said, in the recent times, we have also started using auto scaling. So when I say auto scaling, depending on the workload, the number of nodes will be used. More the workload, we'll use more nodes. Lesser the workload, we'll use a lesser nodes. That is taken care by auto scaling. What process you're following in your project? So in my current project, we are actually following Agile. So Agile is the management technique that we are using here. We get as a sprint. So every alternative week, that is one sprint equal to 10 days. So for example, in my current project, I do have the sprint from February 2nd to February 13. It's like 2 working weeks. So we have 5 plus 5, 10 working days. So we had a sprint planning in the start of the first Monday, and we need to submit that work by 13th. So 13th we will have the review meeting. So what we have done for 10 days, we will have to submit it. So that was a sprint way of working, and the entire process we worked was agile. How much you rate yourself in SQL? So SQL I've been using right from the beginning of my career. So I would rate about 7.5 to 8. Great. Can you tell me what is the difference between OLAP and OLTP? Well, OLAP and OLTP are two main transaction methods that we have in the database. So OLAP stands for online analytical processing. So analysis takes some time. So to give an example, let's say we talk about a Netflix. In Netflix, you watch the movies for 1 week, and after the 1 week, the 6th or 7th day, Netflix recommends you a movie to watch. So this transaction is not happening immediately. It has been observing what you've been doing for the 6-7 days, and on the 8th day they are referring your movie. That is actually OLAP system, online analytical processing. So I'm talking about OLTP. OLTP stands for online transactional processing. It's as simple as that, your ATM transactions. The moment you go and do a transaction, the next millisecond, the bank updates your balance. That's a real-time transaction. So that is OLTP. Can you tell me what is the difference between SQL and MySQL? Well, we are basically comparing a language with a database here. SQL is a language. It is a structured query language, whereas MySQL is a database. So we have Oracle database, Sybase database, MySQL, and we also have a SQL Server. All these are databases. With all these databases, we can go and communicate with the language, which is nothing but SQL. What is the difference between DDL and DML? DDL stands for data definition language and DML stands for data manipulation language. Any structural change is DDL, like create, alter, drop, and truncate. Whereas DML, it's a data level changes like insert, update, and delete. And the main difference is DML operations could be rolled back, whereas DDL commands cannot be rolled back. What is the difference between drop and delete? Well, drop is basically a command which is drops the complete structure of the table or a database. Here, the bad part is you cannot roll it back. Once it is dropped, it's gone. But if you go with a delete, you have a flexibility to delete either a certain records or all the records. And the one more flexibility is you can roll it back. Whenever you have done a delete, if you still want to get back your records, it is possible. So your delete will help you to get the records back. And one more difference is if you are deleting, it will delete only the rows. The structure will be maintained. Whereas drop, it will drop the complete structure of the table also. So drop and truncate is also dropping the complete table, but truncate, it will not drop the structure. It will maintain the structure, but it will drop all the records. But again, both are DDL. We cannot roll it back. And that's the one difference between drop and truncate. So delete and truncate, yeah, as I said, delete is like You can delete all the records of a table with the where clause and without a where clause, that's up to you. The structure will be maintained. And once you delete it, you can always roll it back. So truncate also is the same thing. You can clean up the complete records, but the structure will be maintained. But the sad part is truncate cannot be rolled back because this comes under DDL. What is the difference between a primary key and a unique key? So whenever you want to apply some constraints to a table, we usually go with primary key and unique key. Primary key is a unique key which uniquely identifies a row in a table. Your primary key does not have duplicates. Your primary key does not have null values. Whereas unique key behaves like a primary key. And here in unique key, you cannot have duplicates, but you can have null values. The best example I can give you is primary key is like your Aadhaar ID. Every single person will have an Aadhaar ID. No two people can have same Aadhaar ID, right? And coming to unique key is like a phone number. So when I say phone number also two people cannot have the same phone number, but you have an option to skip. If you want, you give your phone number. If you don't want, you can skip the phone number. So null is allowed, whereas duplicates is not allowed. That is nothing but unique key. What is the difference between primary key and foreign key? Primary key is basically uniquely identifying every row in a table. It does not have duplicates. It does not have null values. You can have only one primary key in a table. Whereas foreign key has been referred from another table. Example, you have a customer table and the customer table has been buying multiple orders. So one customer can buy multiple orders. So obviously you will have duplicates also. And sometimes it could be a orders that is coming from the guest. So null is also possible. So foreign key, duplicates are allowed, nulls are allowed. Primary key, no duplicates, no null values. Can you tell me what is the difference between where clause and having clause? If you want to filter a table with the existing column, we could always go and filter with the help of a where clause. If you want to filter the complete results with the aggregated filter, in that case, we can go with having clause. And we have to keep one thing in mind is having clause comes only after group by clause. So that's the difference. What is joins? If you want to get the data from more than one or two tables, more than 2-3 tables, in that case you will have to go and use joins. So joins helps you to get the data from 2 or more tables, and it is very helpful for data gathering, and it is very helpful for reporting. Can you tell me how many type of joins are there? So for joins, we do have inner join, left join, right join, full join, cross join, and self join. To explain you each and every join, inner join is a join between two tables only on the matching records. Left join gives you all the records from the left table and the matching record from the right table. The non-matching records will be null. Right join will give you all the records from the right table, matching records from the left table, non-matching records will be null. Full join is basically a combination of right join and left join. Self join is basically a table joining with the same table. Cross join gives you the cross product of two tables. Whenever you want to get a pattern between two tables, in that case we'll go with cross join. Can you give me a use case of self join? Self join is used whenever you have the data from the same table. For example, to give an example, imagine there is a table. The table has both employee as well as manager. So every manager will have, every employee will have a manager, and manager is also an employee. So in that case, we can create two alias table, and one table we can focus on the employee, one table we can focus on the managers. So joining between the same table is self join. Cross join. Okay, so to explain cross join, let me bring up some example. Imagine there is a two tables which does not have any common column. Let's talk about a car. So we have different cars, like we'll take different brands of car, and in other table, let's say we have a color. So black, white, green, we have colors. So if you want to know the combination of car buying is possible, in that case, we can go with cross join. To give an example again, imagine there is a car called BMW, let's say X6. So there is X6 we can buy in black, blue, green, red. So this combination is there, right? So the combination is like a multiplication factor of two tables. So that is nothing but cross join. Can you tell me what is the difference between union and union all? Union and union all performs exactly the same operations of clubbing the data row by row. The only difference is union will remove the duplicates whereas union all will include the duplicates. Performance wise, union all is faster, but union all comes with duplicate records. What is window function? So window function is a function that you're applying on a specific set of columns. And here in window functions, we do have rank, dense rank, row number, lead, and lag. So we will be able to write a logic for certain groups. And here we do have a keywords like we will have to write over and then followed by the logic. What is the difference between rank, dense rank, and row number? So we're talking about rank, dense rank, and row number. All three are window functions. In case if there is a student marks and I'm giving a rank for them. So in case if two or more students have got the same marks, obviously the ranks will be same. But if the ranks are same, the next rank will be skipped. That is what it happens in rank. In dense rank, what happens? Even though we have the consecutive, even though we have a repetitive ranks, you will get a consecutive ranks. That is nothing but dense rank. Row number behaves like a primary key. Irrespective of whatever happens, you will always get a unique rank for every row. So that is nothing but row number. How do you get the third maximum salaried person? So this is basically could be achieved with the help of window function. So probably I'll take employee comma salary, then I'll write dense rank. In the dense rank, I can write order by salary descending order, and then I'll give alias name, which gives me the rank. And on top of the query, I can simply go and filter where rank equal to 3. What is CTE? So CTE is basically a common table expression. Whenever you're writing a logic in SQL, we always try to write it in an optimized manner. Rather than getting the data from the physical table, it is always good that you take the data from the buffer itself. So common table expressions are the queries which can store the results within buffer and can be used within the session. And 100% this will be one of the way to optimize your SQL code. Do you have any idea how we can calculate year-on-year sales? So yeah, definitely year-on-year sales is one of the common metric that we use it in most of the scenarios. So what we can do is in SQL, there is no possibility of calculating row by row. It is always needed to be calculated by column. So what we can do, we can create an additional column where we can use a lag function. Lag function is one of the window function which gives you exact replica of the sales column with one row below. And then now you will get the comparison between the current year sales and previous year sales. We can apply a simple formula. So current year minus previous year divided by previous year into 100, we'll be able to get this year on year calculations in SQL. What is the difference between SQL and PL SQL? Well, in SQL, it's basically a structured query language. It is useful whenever you want to write some sort of SQL logics, a simple select queries. Whereas if you talk about a PL SQL comes with a feature of procedural language features where if you want to write some sort of loops, variables, conditions, if conditions, all of this we can still apply. So if you're comparing with any programming language, your PL SQL does that. So that's the difference between SQL and PL SQL. What is the difference between stored procedures and functions? Stored procedures are a part of PL SQL where whenever you have a repetitive task that needs to be executed, in that case, we can go and store the program and reuse it whenever we want. That is nothing but your stored procedures. And comes to functions, if you are applying for any business logics or if you're going with any of the like logical functions, or if you are focusing some of the transformations, in that case, we can go with the functions. So the other difference is stored procedures works well with or without input, and the return value is also optional. If you want, you can return it, or if you can also skip it with the help of parameters called in, out. Whereas function, it's mandatory to give the input, and functions will always return a value. So that's the difference. Difference between a table and a view. So table is a physical table which stores the exact results. It consumes your memory on the disk. Whereas view is just a part of a table where you can view certain records. It is also very helpful for security purpose. And in view, it only stores the query. It does not stores the data. So whenever you're running a select star from view, it goes back and executes the query, gets all the results and displays. So view does not store the data. How do you delete your duplicates? Well, deleting duplicates are multiple ways. So first thing is I have to identify the duplicates first. So I'll make use of a row number. Row number can give you the duplicate records with the help of rank numbers, and whichever row is not equal to 1, obviously that will be a duplicate. So I can simply go and apply a where clause on top of it and write it in a delete statement. Delete from the logic where row number is not equal to 1. That will automatically delete the duplicates. Can you help me to understand what is index and why do we use it and what are the type of indexes? Well, indexes are like as simple as that. I can compare it with a book index. Like it helps you to navigate to a certain page. Similarly, in database, index will actually fasten the process of searching records. Imagine there is a millions of records in a table, and if you're trying to go and search a particular record, it goes through a concept called full scan. So every row will be scanned and then it will give you the results. It's going to be time consuming. So we can create an index out of it. If you create an index on top of that table and the where clause column, what usually happens is it will speed up. It will not go and search the entire table. It will go only search the portion of the table, which will definitely improve the performance. So we have two type of indexes. One is called clustered index and one is called non-clustered index. So clustered index basically has been created on a primary key column where you don't have duplicates and null values. So you easily can go and get the physical order. The physical order will be created as a metadata, and from there the search happens. Well, if you go with the non-clustered index is created on a non-primary key column. Basically, we have a location, state, city. So on that basis, we can create the index. So a specific values, like let's say Bangalore goes into one partition, Chennai goes to one partition, Pune goes to one partition. So this is how the index works in the under the hood. How many joins is needed to join 636 tables? It's as simple logic. If you want to join two tables, we need one join. If you want to join three tables, you have to need two joins. So probably n minus 1. So if I want to join a 636 table, so obviously I will have to go with 635 joins. How much you rate yourself in Python? So Python is a language which I've been using for all these years. I'm not a full stack Python developer, but I know how to implement for data engineering logics. So I've worked with good enough libraries, logics. I've also touched upon the OOPS logics in my experience. So I would rate about 7. So what is mutable and immutable objects? So here when I'm talking about mutable and immutable objects, mutable objects can be modified after creation. Like for example, you have a dictionary, you have a list. Once you go and assign a value, you can always go and change it. Whereas if you go with the immutable objects cannot be changed. So the best example I can give is a tuple. So once you go and give a tuple value, it cannot be changed. So that is nothing but mutable and immutable. So what is a collection in Python? So collection is a special set of data types. So I would say like if you're focusing on like counters, or if you're focusing on some sort of queuing system, or like if you focus on the list, tuple and dictionary, they work very well with the loops. So those type of things we usually call it as a collections. In short, I can call it as a collections as an advanced data type. What is the difference between list and tuple? List and tuple are the advanced data types that we have. So both as a process of storing the set of elements, but the list is something which you can always go and change the values. And whereas if you go with tuple, once you define it, you cannot change it. What are the libraries which you have used? So particularly when I'm coming to a library in data engineering projects, so I have worked with NumPy, Pandas, and then I've used PySpark, and then I've used some sort of scikit-learn, math functions, SciPy functions. All of this I've used in my projects. So what is a lambda function? Lambda function is a function which is anonymous. So basically lambda function is a very small one-line code. So if you want to write some sort of logics within a single line, you can use it. But it also has an advantage and disadvantages. But to answer your question at this point of time, it is a an inline function which could be used for a quick transformations. What do you mean by list comprehension? List comprehension is basically like a shortcut to your loops. So if you have a list and within the list you can write a loop, so that way we can avoid writing the actual loop concept, which will take much more time. So list comprehension will help you to write logic within the list. Do you have experience in writing oops object? Yes, in one of my project where there was a need of writing the data cleaning with the help of class, objects, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction. So that is where I got some good experience. And particularly if you talk about Python, in Python the oops is pretty simple, where you don't have to focus much on the brackets or don't focus much on the other special characters. You can simply write a logic with a indentation. That's one of the beauty of Python. Okay, so let's get into the actual data engineering concepts, which is Spark. So do you know what is Spark? Well, Spark is a distributed data processing engine which is used to handle bigger data. And instead of processing the data in one machine, we could divide the data, divide the logic, and process it multiple systems on multiple systems. So that is one advantage of using Spark. And Spark works with memory. So that is why it is faster. So one of the most used framework in the data engineering in all the recent projects is Spark. Can you explain the Spark architecture? So in Spark architecture, basically it is a master slave architecture. We have a driver node which controls the execution, builds the DAG, and builds the workflows. And it is also managed by one of the clusters. So cluster, it could be, in our case, we are using Databricks. And we have multiple executors performs the computations on each and every individual node, and all of this happens in the memory, and internally it gets converted from job to stage to task, and then execution. Here the driver program takes the control, and the data, the logic will be transferred to the worker node executes the work, and it will be shared back to the driver node as a result. So this is about the Spark architecture. Difference between Hadoop and Spark. Hadoop basically is a batch processing. So there is a multiple read and write operations that is involved. Whenever you're doing a logic or a transformation, the data, the intermediate data has to be gone and stored in the HDFS. From the HDFS, we will be writing all the like logics to store the intermediate results. And then again, multiple read and writes is being used. So that's why Hadoop is not preferred for real-time streaming. It is very good for batch processing. When it comes to Spark, Spark works in a different framework. It's basically again a driver and node here, but here the change is here you will be able to do a real-time streaming analytics, because we will be able to store all the intermediate data in cache itself. So multiple read and write options can be avoided. Because of this, we could improve the performance, or we could improve the fast transformations, and that is why Spark is always faster than Hadoop. Which language does Spark support? Spark supports basically 4 languages, if I'm not wrong. So it supports Scala, Java, Python, I think R. So this 4 languages it supports. But I've used Python. Python is as simple as that. It comes with a lot of flexible libraries and functions. So I've used Spark with Python. So what happens when you submit a Spark job? So in flow, if I'm talking about an execution flow, so whenever a Spark job is submitted, driver creates a Spark session, then the code will be converted into a logical plan, and then followed by the DAG will be built for the transformations. DAGs again gets divided into multiple stages, and executors will run in parallel, and finally the output could be written. So this is what happens when you submit a Spark job. What is RDD and DAG? So RDD and DAG are the two main pillars of Spark. So whenever you talk about an RDD, it is a resilient distributed data set. So Sparks, it's a low level data structure. So it comes with immutable. Once you are writing up some logic or data set, it gets divided on the temporary data set, which is RDD. And RDD will have all the logical plans, and which RDD has what type of transformations, that is taken care by DAG. So DAG is a directed acyclic graph which executes the logical plan which is being stored in the RDD. So these two are very, very important and critical if you want to have a Spark job. What is transformations and actions? So basically, whenever you're doing some sort of transformations on your Spark, the data gets stored and the logic gets stored in the RDD. So this RDD logics and the logical plans doesn't get executed unless and until there is a function which is invoking it. So that is why we call it as a transformation. So transformations, it's like a lazy evaluation. It just stores the logic but does not execute. But what is action? Actions are the functions which make the transformations to execute and give the results. So that is nothing but your action. So once you run an action, all the transformations what you have done in your project, everything will be computed and it will be displayed. So what is lazy evaluation? As I was talking about the transformations, you're doing some sort of transformation. The transformation gets stored internally in the RDD. Unless and until there is an external code that is been calling, this code does not exist. And that is why it is called lazy evaluation. And that is why it is called lazy evaluation. Now, what is the difference between RDD, data frames, and data sets? Well, if I'm talking about RDD, data frame, and data sets, RDD is a low-level distributed collection. It does not have schema, but it's moreover, you have to write all the logics in a low level. And coming to data frame is beautiful in terms of writing the structured data with schema like a table, and it is optimized with the help of execution, and it is easier and faster for the analytics purpose. And then comes the dataset. Dataset is basically a combination of RDD and data frame. It's a very high level when you're reading different datasets from different sources. First, it creates a datasets, only then it goes to a data frame. So datasets is a type safety. Basically, when I say type safety, it helps us to read a proper file formats, and then it will be internally used by the data frames for the transformations. What is collage and repartition? Well, collage and repartitions are basically the particularly which has been involved in Spark. So in Spark, what happens? Whenever you want to decrease or increase the partitions, in that case, we can go with collage and repartition. In repartition, we have a flexibility to increase or decrease the partitions. But the problem with repartition, it is always goes with a full shuffling. So since the shuffling is more, data shuffling is more, obviously it is also going to be expensive. When it comes to a collage, so collage, it's only decreases the partitions, and it avoids or reduces the data shuffling, and because of that it improves the cost as well. So collage is better than repartition. What is cache and persist? So in a layman terms, both works under the hood in terms of memory. So in cache, what happens? It stores the data in the memory itself. Like it could be a transformations, or it could be logic, or it could be some sort of data. We can cache it so that we can use it without any shuffling. It actually reads directly from the memory. It fastens the process. So cache is always good for storing the intermediate results. Persist, if you want to store directly into the disk, or if you want to divide the data across memory and disk, where you're going persisting on some storage, the English meaning of persist itself is storage. So if you're going and storing on a particular node, in that case, we call it as a persist. So again, depending on the use case, we will have to either go with the cache or persist. Can you tell me what is the difference between group by key and reduce by key? Well, both are used for aggregating the data. To give an example, it's as simple as a group by. But in group by key, what happens? It shuffles all the data from the different networks. It slows and consumes more number of stages. So obviously it is much slower. When you come to the reduce, in reduce, what happens? It performs all the operations within the lesser stages. And here both map and reduce happens at the same level. So here data shuffling is lesser, and reduce by key actually performs better than group by key. What is a broadcast join? Imagine that I want to join two or more tables and a table seems to be smaller. I'll tell you what happens without broadcast join. Without broadcast join, what happens? The data is scattered across different nodes, and then you are doing a join. What happens? The data moves from one node to another node. A lot of data shuffling is involved. So in order to improve that, we have a broadcast join. In broadcast join, what happens? The smaller data is being dumped into the memory. So the join will happen from the memory to disk or memory to the data. So here what happens? The data shuffling itself is reduced. So that's why broadcast joins are much better than your traditional joins. What are the limitations of broadcast join? See, in a broadcast join, if you want to make use of it, only one table, let's say we have two tables, and the table which is less than 8 GB, only that could be made as a broadcast. The other table which is more than 8 GB, that's practically not possible. So that is one of the limitation, I would say, though even though it's a configurable, but maximum if it is 8 GB, anything above 8 GB, it's quite difficult for us to do a join. What is broadcast variable? So broadcast variables are a same concept as like broadcast joins. So whenever you are doing some sort of transformations, whenever you're doing some sort of calculations, we usually create a variables. So if this variables is present outside the disk, and if you want to do some sort of calculations which is coming from the different nodes, obviously here it leads to a heavy lifting, that is it leads to a data shuffling, and that's why it's slower. But if you go with the broadcast variable will help us to store this data in the memory. So the computation between the memory and the disk is much faster, so data shuffling is less, and which improves the performance. So broadcast variables is way to improve your performance. Limit of broadcast variables, again as I said, it's going to be a 10 MB. So any value which is of greater than 10 MB, which cannot be used as a broadcast variable. What is an arrow transformations and white transformations? When you will use, so for example, if you are going with an arrow transformation, the data will stay in the same partition, the data shuffling will not happen. So the examples like filters or map, like if you want to do some sort of logics within the same node, we can go with the narrow transformation. Narrow transformations is much faster because it does not go with any data shuffling. But if you go with the white transformation, the data is moved across the networks, across the nodes, and here the shuffling also happens. And the best example I can give is if you want to go with a join. Let's say the data, customer data and product data, I want to bring it. So the data will be moved out of that partition. So obviously the data shuffling will be involved, and white transformations is much costlier than narrow transformation. What is data skew? How to handle it? Well, for example, if there is the data that gets divided across nodes, and if one partition gets too much of data and other node does not get much of data, so data skewness occurs. So data skewness where multiple or more records has been present on one node, and the other node is like having a reasonably less records. In that case, we go with the data skew. So this creates a major issue because the data is not distributed properly. To give an example, imagine we have two people. One person I'll give 99 tasks, another person I'll give one task. So this is not an optimal way of doing it, right? We have to give 50 tasks to a person and 50 tasks to 50B. That's the way I follow here. So here we can go with something called sorting technique. So sorting technique, we can add a random prefix to the skew data. We can also go with some sort of adaptive query executor, which also takes care of sorting, where we add some additional values to the smaller data and compensate and make both data to be equally divided. So that way I can improve the data skewness. What is auto scaling? So auto scaling is a method where the clusters will automatically adjust the number of nodes in a cluster. So imagine that if suddenly the load increases, the work increases, the task increases. In that case, what would we go with? So auto scaling allows the Databricks to automatically increase or decrease the worker nodes. So this will actually reduce your cost. So which is one of the advantage. Vacuum, basically if you want to clean some unwanted files in a delta table. So as we know, the delta tables keeps track of all the historical records. There could be a need that maybe I don't need certain files. In order to clean up or reduce the cost space, then in that case I could go with vacuum. Vacuum will remove the old files and freeze the storage. What is optimize and Z order? Well, if you go with optimize, optimize basically reduces a small files into larger files, improving the read performance. And this will be very helpful if you are having a larger task and we can divide into multiple subtasks and then do it. But if you go with the Z order is basically a physical reordering the data inside the file. So for example, let's say we have a employee ID. Employee ID could be distributed across different employees on a node. So what we do, we can have a physical order. You can order it in either ascending order or descending order so that the performance can be faster. So that way we can use a Z order. But all this, whatever I've talked about, optimize and Z order, it is something which we'll have to do it manually. But if you're talking about a Databricks comes with a process of a method called catalyst optimizer. This catalyst optimizer automatically optimizes the query. So all the logical plan, physical plan, it will be decided by the Databricks itself, which will reduce the burden to our manual coding. That's why this is much better than our optimize in Z order. Have you worked on Unity catalog? What exactly it is used for? So if you talk about a Unity catalog, if you want to manage the data governance and access control in the Databricks is a platform where if you want to access certain tables, catalogs for certain people, in that case, we can go with the data governance. It basically manages the governance. Yes, I've used in my current project. It basically a fine-grained access could be controlled. It is also a centralized metadata management, and we also have a secured sharing across workspaces. This is more preferable in the recent days in this when the data security is being given a more importance. What is a time travel? So time travel is a feature where you can go back and access the older version of the data. So let's say what you have done a month back or maybe 15 days back or 10 days back, you can always go back and figure out what you have done. So it supports time travel, meaning that it can query the previous versions. What I've done 1 week back, I could still go and get it. So it will help you to query the different versions of your data. In case of nested JSON source, how do you handle it? Okay. So nested JSON. So it's a very straightforward if you have a normal JSON, but if you have a nested JSON inside a JSON, there are two ways that I can do it. First, I can explode, I can use an explode function. This explode function which actually can go one level below and we can give you in a multiple rows. That is one method. But if you have a multiple nested JSON, in that case, I can create my own structure. I can use Spark struct fields. In the struct fields, I can define the structure and then I can load it. So here, if you go with the schema evolution, like I can automatically provide the schema. And finally, that nested JSON also could be loaded into the schema which you have provided. How do you debug your Spark job? So if you want to debug a Spark job, the first thing is, of course, we can use a Spark UI for analyzing the stages and task failures. Then we can review the drivers and executors logs. Then also we can focus on identifying the skewness and improving the data shuffling. And we can also validate the schema mismatches. That is one of the thing I can do it. I can also use a sample data to test it rather than testing on the original data. So these are the some of the steps that I would use for uh, debugging my Spark job. How do you optimize your Spark job? Well, to optimize your Spark job, there are multiple things that I can focus. First of all, I can make use of broadcast join and broadcast variables. I can use of cache and persist wherever it is needed. I can optimize the partitions. I can avoid the white shuffles. And wherever there is a data skewness, I could handle the data skewness. I can use auto scaling method, and I can also use an optimize and Z orders, which can give you a better logical plan for the executions. And yeah, all this methods to summarize like joins, right? Using broadcast joins, caching, handling skewness, making the right file formats. We can use a delta file formats to make it faster executions. So all these are some of these steps that I would prefer in order to improve my Spark job. And just to call out, in my current project, there was a Spark job which was running about 25 minutes. And with my technical skills and technical implementation, I was able to reduce to 11 minutes. How do you handle schema drift and schema evolution? So whenever the source team adds with new columns or sometimes changes the new schema, what does a schema drift will do is, if there is an unexpected schema change, obviously the pipeline will be failing, right? So in order to handle this, in order to control the new columns, we could go with schema evolution. So schema evolution will help you to maintain the new columns also without failing the pipeline. Have you used widgets option in notebook? Yes, I've used a widgets option. It's basically like parameterizing your Databricks notebooks. So if you want to pass some values dynamically to your notebook and based on that value, it has to execute. In that case, we can go with Databricks widgets. So very helpful. It is used in reusable pipelines for as much as complex logics. What is IR and what is the types? Basically, integration runtime is IR stands for integration runtime. It's basically part of your Synapses and Azure Data Factory. It is a compute infrastructure which is used to do the transformations and move the data from the system to system. And here we have three types. One is called self-hosted integration runtime. One is called Azure integration runtime. One is called SSIS integration runtime. Whenever you're doing the transformation and compute between the Azure services, we go with Azure integration runtime. Whenever you're doing the transformations between any private network or any on-prem, in that case we can go with a self-hosted integration runtime. Or whenever you are doing a migration from the SSIS, in that case we go with the SSIS integration runtime. Which is more optimized, blog or ADLS? The most optimized is ADLS, because ADLS comes with a hierarchical namespace where we can create multiple folders, and each folder we can have it use it for different use cases. So that's how ADLS is more optimized, and it also comes with some sort of compression which reduces the cost. So ADLS is much better than blog. How do you build your pipeline effectively? So for building a pipeline, the first thing is I can use a parameters to make sure that I parameterize for reusability. I can go with an incremental load instead of full load. I can have a proper error handling and retries. For example, if that source is not sending the data, I can have a multiple retry options. We can have a logging and monitoring, and we can have a validation checks, row count, schema count, column count, all of this we can do. And by adding proper alerts for failures and email notification, we should be able to handle it well. And we need to have a proper integration with a GitHub and CI/CD pipelines support. We will be able to build an effective pipeline. What is the difference between block storage and data lake storage? In block storage, it's a general purpose. You can use it for as simple as that. You can go with your storages. But data lake storage comes with a hierarchical namespace. It is actually built on the block, but it provides a namespace feature. You can have a hierarchical folders. We can have a folders inside the folders. It is also optimized for analytics and Spark. So cost wise, your ADLS is much better than block. Have you implemented UDF in your project? Yes. So UDF stands for user defined function. So particularly in Spark, when some of the logics is not there in Spark, we can write our own logic. We can write our Spark logics and we can use it throughout the notebooks. So that is something which I've done in my project. For example, I've done a lot of data cleaning, missing value checks, abnormality checks, special character checks. All of this built-in logics I've implemented in a Spark and I've used across the different notebooks. So what are the transformations you have implemented in terms of transformations like filtering, cleaning, cleansing, duplications, joins, aggregations, doing some sort of KPI calculations, calculating year on year, month on month. So all of this I've done in the PySpark transformations. Explain data frames in PySpark and what is their advantage. See, data frames is basically like instead of using RDD, I'm using data frames. So data frames comes with a table-like structure. It supports a lot of SQL queries. It is easier to work with a structural data here. You can directly go and query it. In terms of execution also, it is faster executions than RDD. Is it possible to share the delta table to someone who is outside your organization? Okay, let me think on this. You're asking me to share the delta table outside the organization. Um, Direct restriction is actually restricted because it comes with a lot of protection, delta tables. So here, direct sharing is restricted due to some security boundaries. But with the help of delta sharing protocol or some sort of providing the secure connections, we will be able to share. But ideally, we can, but we should not. What is the difference between a normal table and a delta table? So if I'm talking about a normal table is basically a table which is as simple as that we can use it for a normal storing the data and using as a transactional table. But when it comes to delta comes with asset transactions, schema evolutions, time travel. In case of there is any new updates, we can go with the merge operations, file compressions, optimizations. It also comes with going back to a previous versions. So all this it supports in delta table. Of course, delta table cannot be equal to normal table. Normal table cannot be equal to delta table. Each one is used for different purpose. Your SQL query has 100 CTs. How do you migrate to Databricks? Well, first of all, the one thing which I would figure out is I need to know whether it is really needed for 100 CTs. So if there is needed of 100 CTs, I will definitely migrate. But first I will go and analyze this 100 CTs. I'll start figuring it out if there is anything that could be cut shorted, because this 100 CTs could be done maybe a few years back by some other developers. Now the code has changed, framework has changed. Now we can always write in a better way of writing, and that too especially in the field of AI. We can make our code better. So probably first I'll analyze, is it really required to have 100 CTs? First I'll figure out. Then I will try to understand the business logic and then go step by step analysis. How do you manage your access management system? Like access management, basically I can use the service name is Azure Active Directory, which is recently caused as Intra ID. So with the help of Intra ID, I could assign, I can give the credentials, and I can make sure it is accessible only by specific people. And here I can also go with a role-based access for the I can give a different permissions. With the help of the different permissions, I can manage the complete access part. Can you explain a medallion architecture? Medallion architecture is a 3-layer architecture where we have bronze, gold, and silver. In bronze, we are storing the data as it is. Whenever you're getting the data from the different data sources, we are dumping in our one layer, which is called bronze. And then the silver layer, we are doing all the data transformations, data cleaning, followed by we are doing data modeling. All of this it happens in the silver layer. Specifically in the silver layer, we are also removing missing values, subnormalities, special characters, white spaces. All of that we are doing in the silver layer, which is also called a staging if I am talking about traditional methods. And then finally we have a gold layer. Gold layer is a final layer, which is a final business logic data that is usually shared with our business intelligence team. How do you maintain an incremental load in your pipeline? So if I'm talking about an incremental load, first, we need to have a watermark column. Watermark column will have the last updated date, and we need to also store this last processed time in one of the table. So I need to fetch the difference dates, like from the watermark table to the last updated date. What is the difference of dates? Only that date we can load it. In ADF, if you want to do, there is a concept called upsert. If you want to do it in Databricks, we have a concept called merge. So with the help of this, we should be able to do it. And again, as important as we need to keep track of when was the last time the pipeline was loaded and when was the last time the data was loaded. If you know these two things, you can easily go and do an incremental load. Now, what is data profiling? So data profiling is actually a process of analyzing the data. It's like checking, doing some sort of statistics, understanding the null percentage, missing value, data inconsistency, understanding if there is any duplicates, abnormalities, special characters, white spaces. All of this I can do it, and I can prepare a statistics. So that is nothing but data profiling. To be honest, data profiling will be very helpful if you are doing a migration project. Did you use any of the NoSQL database? Yes, in my experience, I've been using NoSQL database. In the on-prem, I've used MongoDB, and in the in the current project, I'm using Cosmos DB. Cosmos DB is again, it's a MongoDB's version in cloud. So whenever we get the data in the form of a JSON files or a key value pair, in that case, we have used NoSQL databases. Can you pull the data from API? Yes, it is possible. If you're reading in a Databricks, you can straight away read it with the help of URL. But if you're going with ADF, in ADF we have a two source activities, which is called RESTful API activities or HTTP activities. With the help of this too, we should be able to read the data from APIs. What is explode function? Explode function is actually a PySpark function which will actually extract the data from nested JSON or JSON. So where you have a JSON value, that value could be which will be exported as a special row. A new row comes into picture, so that we can use it with the help of explode function. Can you run one notebook? How can you run one notebook in another notebook? So basically what we can do is, in the notebook that we want to run, we will have to provide the path of the previous notebook, and this is done by the magic commands %run that will help you to run one notebook into another notebook. This %run is a magic command which we can use it to call one notebook to another notebook. So if a scheduled pipeline does not trigger at all, and you don't get an email notification also, how do you resolve this? Okay, this is quite tricky. If the ADF pipeline does not trigger at all and you don't get an email notification also, but it has started, how do you resolve this? The first thing what I do is I'll start figuring out if there is any troubleshooting steps. Like I'll check the trigger status, is it started or stopped, or I'll verify the timings if the pipelines is in different time zones. I'll confirm if the pipeline is published or not, because the pipelines has to be saved, only then you will be able to execute it. So I'll check if it is published or not. I'll also check the ADF services in case if it started. I can go to the monitoring tab and see what is the status of the trigger run. I'll also put some alerts properly, whether the alerts have been configured correctly, because the email notification you may be sending to some junk email, or it could be sent to spam. I would check that if the configuration is set properly. I'll validate the link services before executing. So yeah, all these are the few of the checks which I would do. Even if the trigger never fired, I'll still have to go and do all of this research. How do you handle late arriving files in pipeline? First of all, the late arriving pipelines is not in my control, because as a data engineer, I'll be building a data pipelines, but there is a source team who's responsible for sending these files. So late arriving files are quite common in most of the projects, and even in my project, I have faced this. So first thing is I will have to go and figure out if there is any waterfall logic that is been tracking. When was the last updated date? I'll have a backfill windows. For example, if 2 3 days, if it's keeps repeating, I'll have to talk to the source team. And I'll also try to go with the event based triggers. Event based triggers is I need not wait it. Whenever the file comes, I can go and run the pipeline. So that way I can handle the late arriving files. I can maintain an audit table, like when the data was loaded, when the data was missing, all of this I can handle it. So yeah, this is something which I can do it to handle the late arriving files. What factors do you choose to choose a file format, Parquet, ORC, or Avro? So first of all, each file has their own pros and cons. So first we need to understand when Parquet is used, when ORC is used, when Avro is used. I'll have to figure out. So Parquet is use a columnar format. It is best for analytical queries and it supports compression. The most widely used is Parquet. When it comes to ORC, which is similar to Parquet, but it is not that great for the heavier data. It is good for your Hive related data. So that is where I'll go to ORC. Avro, I'm sorry, Avro I've not used much, so I don't have an idea on Avro. What is a stage layer in the pipeline? So stage layer is basically a stage layer and an intermediate layer, which is called a silver layer. So in silver layer, basically we can have all the checks, null checks, data cleaning, duplications, validations, joining. All of this we can do it in the latest projects in the medallion architecture. We are calling a silver. But if I want to relate it to a older version, then we call it as a stage. Did you get a chance to work with JSON files? Yes, in my current project, I used to get the data from the JSON files, which was directly read in the spark.json format. And some of the data I was also getting from the key value pair from the MongoDB and Cosmos DB. That was also was similar to your JSON. So I had a good experience working with JSON data. How do you troubleshoot your pipeline? So troubleshooting your pipeline is something which you will have to take care of this in every project. So in troubleshooting the pipeline, I would go and check the failure points, like where the failure has happened in the monitoring tab. I'll review the activity logs and error messages. I'll validate the link service and connectivity. I'll check if there is any schema mismatch or missing data, missing values. I'll also have debug step by step. We have in ADF also we have a debug method where we can go and execute activity by activity. Then I can figure out which activity failed. And finally, with the help of multiple retries and alerting, I should be able to troubleshoot my pipeline. After a few weeks, the vendor adds a new column. Does it affect this pipeline? Ideally, yes, it will affect. That is actually a schema drift. A new column can cause a schema drift, but if you handle it well, for example, if I'm doing in a Databricks, a schema evolution in the Delta Lake, it can be handled, or updating the transformations, I can figure this, or in ADF, I can use a column mapping dynamically, which can help me to figure out this. So yeah, these are the few things which I would definitely do it in case if there is a new column that has been added. Enforce a fine grain. You need to enforce a fine grained access to a table in Databricks for multiple users? So yes, this is possible. As we know that in the Databricks, in the recent updates, we do have a Unity catalog. With the help of the Unity catalog, we can provide our grant access at the catalog level, schema level, and table level. Or if you want to go with the row level security for a team specific, or if you want to go with the column level masking, all of this could be achieved with the help of Unity catalog. So parameters are basically used to pass a dynamic values. If you want to have environment specific like development, production, UAT, or if you want to have an incremental loads, or if you want to go with a country based data injections, all of this I could use parameters. It is very, very helpful because it acts like a placeholders, and this placeholders will help us to pass the values dynamically. You have to run a pipeline for 10 countries dynamically. How will you design it using triggers and parameters? So first of all, what I'll do is I'll create one generic pipeline. I'll pass country as a parameter, and maybe I can use a lookup activity for the country. And then I can use a for each activity to loop all the country informations, and dynamic data sets can be created. So one pipeline can process if you have different countries like India, US, UK. I can do it without even a duplication. So yeah, so to summarize the answer, we can use a single pipeline plus for each activity and then parameters. This three should help me to solve this problem. If you want to schedule a pipeline 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., how many triggers is required and why? To be honest, okay. So in ADF, one trigger can support only one time. So probably here to run both at 8 o'clock and 8 p.m. So we have to create two triggers, one in the morning and one in the evening. And we can use one trigger with a recurrence option also. I don't think schedule trigger has this. But yeah, two triggers. That's my answer. How do you handle a pipeline failure and automatically retry? So if you see the option in ADF, so ADF comes with a retry setting. We can configure the retry count and retry intervals. For example, if I give a retry count as 5 and retry interval as 30 seconds, every 30 seconds it will go and try for 5 times. So we have this option in ADF. And in case if there is any failure that has happened, we can also check the logs and we can restart the pipeline from the checkpoint. So that is also possible. So both ways we can use it. This ensures that we have a multiple tries that we can set it. We have a parameter directly in the ADF pipeline. You need to process files only if it exists in ADLS. Which activity will you use? So there is an activity called get metadata activity. Get metadata activity will check if the file exists or not. With the proper conditioning systems, we can see if the file exists or not, and then we will be able to check whether the file exists or not. Then we will proceed with the operation. What data validation checks you will perform after migration data from on-prem SQL to Azure SQL? See, first of all, whenever you're doing a migrating, you need to be very sure of the migration. You need to have a row count, source versus target, schema comparison, columns versus data types, null value checks, duplicate checks, aggregation checks, simple record checks, validation checks, and constraints checks. All this I will have to check. That's a checklist that I will prepare. Based on the checklist, I will be able to perform the operations. What is the difference between bronze, silver, and gold? So basically, bronze, it's a raw data, which is data as it is. Silver layer, it is basically cleaned and standardized, deduplicated data. Gold layer is basically a business data, and it is also a curated data, where I would say, according to the business logics, I would have implemented the business layer. You need to perform an upsert operation daily. How do you do that? So if I want to do an upsert operation, there is a concept called merge. Merge is basically a command that I can use it in SQL if you want to use both for insert and update. So when there is a matched records, then you can go with an update. When there is a not matched records, in that case, we can go with an insert. So this can be efficiently handled with the help of merge command. So upsert is equal to merge. What is the difference between ARM template and Terraform? So ARM templates is a templates when you're creating a services, and if you want to replicate the same services, same configurations with different environment, we can go with ARM templates. But I'm sorry, I've not worked on Terraform. How do you monitor your pipelines and sets alerts? So, well, if you're going with the monitoring pipelines, ADF monitors with the monitoring tab. Here we have also have another service which is called Azure Monitor, and we also have a log analytics which we collect the logs. And in terms of alerts, we can set the alerts for failures, email notification, Teams notification, custom error handling. All of this could be handled. So with that, I'll be able to monitor my production pipeline. Of course, this could be done for production because production is not in your control, but we can provide the steps to the production team and they will be able to configure all the alerts. Do you store the gold layer? Do we store gold layer data in Delta tables or Parquet files? So the most preferred is Parquet files. The reason is Parquet files comes with some features like optimized or cost, or it is very good for reading the files. It supports asset properties, enables a merge for incremental loads. It also provides time travel. So obviously I would go with the Parquet files because Parquet files are very, very helpful in for transformations. If one country loads fails, how do you prevent the entire pipeline to be failed? So what we can do is we can handle this with the help of a for each activity. In for each activity, we can also have a continue on error, which is an option. When you say continue on error, even if there is an error, it will still proceed. So separate logging will happen with respect to country. Retry can be given only for the failed country, and whichever country data did not get loaded, that we can store it in the error log and we can go with the debugging. So that is one method that I can do. How do you design your end-to-end pipeline with dependencies between ADF and Databricks? So here what we can do, dependencies between ADF and Databricks. So here ADF will actually help you to do a basic level transformations, data modeling, and a simple copy activities, whereas Databricks is helpful for heavy lifting transformations. There is an option to use ADF values in Databricks with the help of widgets. But if you want to run the Databricks in ADF, there is a execute notebook option where you can call the notebook in ADF and we can execute it. So that is something which I would have done it. How do you migrate pipelines from development to production? So here we have to involve the CI/CD pipeline, which is basically taken care by DevOps team. But I was also involved in assisting the team in providing the CI/CD configurations. So here what I've done, I've developed a pipeline in the development environment. I've created the ARM templates. Then I've integrated with this with a GitHub repo, and I've created a release branch. And then based on the specific environments, we have created a YAML file. And once this YAML file has been created, we run this YAML file to push the code from the development to production. How do you parameterize a link service to support different environments? Here what we can do, we can create a ARM templates using the parameter files. We can also have a key vault integration based on the environment variables. We can create the DevOps pipeline. In the DevOps pipeline, we can give the service name, link service name, connection names, all of this we can configure in the YAML file. And once you call this YAML file, automatically the parameters which you're giving on the user interface will be captured in the YAML file and it executes. This way we will be able to parameterize my pipeline. Your files arrive late from the system, what you will do. So whenever the source file comes late on time, first of all, I can handle it with the help of event-based triggers instead of fixed triggers. I can also get the metadata to figure out like why the information was received late, and also have a backfill logic, like I can have a backup data and figure out if I still want to load the previous version data, I can still want to continue the pipelines, I can go with the backfill. So this is something which I can do it whenever I'm receiving the data late. How can you handle errors during your copy activity? How can you handle errors during your copy activity? So basically we have a process of false tolerance setting and error logging. So whenever a copy activity is being executed, in case if one or two rows is being not copied, that could be tracked in the error logging. It will exactly give you which ID did not copy and what is the error for that. For that you will have to go and enable the error logging settings. How do you implement a time travel feature? So time travel features is pretty simple. Like by default, Delta tables comes with a time travel features. If you really want to go back and see the previous records, we can either go with the versioning concept. So you can either go and write select star from table by providing the version or by providing the dates. What is the difference between Hive queries and Spark queries? Hive queries runs on the Hadoop system where it's basically used for online analytical systems. It's basically for batch processing. When you go with a Spark SQL comes and sits on top of Spark. So obviously it comes and improves the performance. Yes, Spark SQL could be used for real-time streaming analytics as well, and it's much faster than your Hive queries. What is the difference between dedicated SQL pool and serverless SQL pool? If this concept basically, if I'm not wrong, it comes in the synopsis. So in the synopsis, there is a possibility that you can create two type of databases. One is a dedicated SQL pool and one is a serverless SQL pool. Dedicated SQL pool is dedicatedly you are designing a database system for your project. Serverless is basically like you are mainly focusing on executing the ADLS data directly on the database without creating the server. That is why it is called serverless. How does a hierarchical namespace benefits ADLS? By enabling the hierarchical namespace for your project, it gives you the privileges of creating and flexibility to create multiple folders. So you can create multiple folders, folders inside the folders, directories inside the directories, which will help you to organize your bigger data. How do you read the data in Databricks? So basically you have three methods. One is like access method, one is a SAS token, and one is a service principal. By using these three, we can mount your ADLS storage to your Databricks so that the access becomes easier for, it becomes easier to access the data in Databricks. How do you read, what is normalize and denormalize data? So if I'm talking about normalize and denormalize data, when data is splitted into multiple tables and making the data redundancy, we usually go with the normalized data, which is used in OLTP systems. Denormalized data, basically you're collecting all the data and dumping into one table, which has all the transaction data aggregated record by record. In that case, we go with the denormalized data. Denormalized data may not be good enough for online transaction, but it is good for online analytical processing. So as a data engineer, our objective is to create a denormalized data so that the BI team also reports and use it for reporting purpose. How do you mount ADLS storage in Databricks? So basically we have a specific predefined code that we could go with it. And as I said, we can go with the access key, SAS token, service principal. With the help of these three, we can mount it and we can use with the help of mount point. How do you commit your changes to a master code? So whenever you're doing a transformations in ADF or you're writing some sort of logics in a Databricks, both has to be integrated to a GitHub. GitHub is a central repository of code where all the project code will be there. So if you want to do some sort of task, first you will have to take the update from the master code, create a multiple branches called feature branch, do all the transformations and then again push it to the master. How do you enforce data masking in Azure SQL database? Data masking. So probably what I would believe is we could do it with the help of a SQL logic. We can mask the data. For example, if my phone number is 10 digit, in between 5 digits, I can go and substitute some sort of character, which the entire number could be hidden. So this way I could go with logic implementation. So difference between pipeline parameters, dataset parameters, and link set parameters. Pipeline parameters controls the overall pipeline logic, where if you want to go with a country level analysis, in that case, I can create a pipeline for country. If the dataset level, imagine I want to read the data from different data sources, I can create a parameter for dynamic file name, so that I can use a dataset parameters. Or if you am connecting to development environment, UAT environment, or production environment, in this case the data source itself will changes. In that case I can create a link service. The link service also could be parameterized for different environments. How do you implement dynamic file path injection in ADF? So we have something called expressions. With the help of symbol and providing the expressions, we can do it. So here we can also have the parameterized values, we can send it. And by using the dynamic expression, by using the ADF dynamic expression, we should be able to achieve this. What is the difference between ADF pipelines and Synapses pipeline? Ideally, both are same. But if I'm really looking at the difference, ADF pipelines is a standalone integrated service, whereas Synapses are integrated within the Synapses Analytics. It's like a one-stop shop. So it makes your work easier. But honestly, what I have experienced in my projects is Synapses is much costlier than ADF pipelines. So how do you perform an upsert operation? So usually we can go with a merge. Merge is basically a combination of insert and update. With the help of both this, we will be able to achieve your merge logic. So with respect to the cluster types, we basically have interactive cluster, job cluster, and single node cluster. Interactive cluster is used for development purpose. Job cluster is usually used whenever you have a scheduled production workloads. And single node cluster, it's a lightweight task. If you want to use it for your analysis purpose, you can go with node clusters. Your Databricks job is failing with out of memory. What steps you will do? So basically first I'll check the Spark UI if there is any skewed partitions, or I'll try to increase executor memory, or probably I'll go with some sort of repartitions. I'll avoid actually actions. Actions are the main culprits. The more and more actions you use, it will go to a memory issue. So that I'll control. Probably wherever is needed, I will cache the data. Difference between cache and persist. So different cache basically store the data in the memory, and persist will allow the data to be stored on the disk. Cache is useful whenever if you want to read the data faster, and persist will be helpful whenever you want to store permanently on the system. How does multiple developers work with the same pipeline? Like if multiple people are working in a project, every pipeline has to be integrated with a GitHub. So GitHub is a central repository of entire code, and from that code we will be taking a multiple branches, and each one will work on separate branch, do the transformations, do the logic implementations, and send it for the code review. Once the code is reviewed, it will be merged to the master. Is it possible to call a stored procedures inside a ADF activity? Yes, this is possible. Well, it has a stored procedure activity. When you're going with a stored procedure activity, you will have to provide a proper link service. And in the link service, you will be able to call the stored procedure activity, and you can call the stored procedure name. How do you delay the consecutive pipelines? In case if there are multiple pipelines which are dependent on each other and you need to have a buffer time, there is an activity called wait activity. The wait activity, you can provide the time. I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly, it is a seconds or minutes, but you can configure the time, whether to wait for certain seconds or to have to wait for certain minutes. I can check after this interview, but as of now, I'm saying that it's an activity which is called wait activity. In the wait activity, we can provide the time limit. Have you built any real-time streaming data? Yes, in one of my project, I've built a real-time streaming data. So in the real-time streaming data, I used to get the data from the IoT hub. IoT hub, I was configuring lot of data points that is coming from different devices. And then we have configured that to Azure Streaming Analytics. In Azure Streaming Analytics, we are mapping the input and output. And finally, we are reporting that into a Power BI. So that reporting we have done. Why did you use Databricks instead of ADF? ADF is not that great in providing all the transformations. ADF comes with a lightweight transformations where it comes with the codeless transformations where we need not write any code. We have to just simply go and drag and drop. When we talk about a Databricks, Databricks is a service which comes with a Spark cluster. All the heavy lifting transformations, business logics, complex transformations, everything could be implemented in the help of coding. And that's why we have the Databricks. What are triggers in ADF? So basically, if you want to automatically run your pipelines through a timely manner, we can go with the triggers. So here we have three type of triggers. One is called schedule trigger, one is called tumbling window trigger, and one is called event-based triggers. Schedule triggers are basically time-based triggers. You can define a specific time like an alarm clock. Then you go with the tumbling window trigger. Tumbling window trigger is actually a fixed intervals with some dependencies. And if you're going with the event-based triggers is like whenever a file is arriving on certain dates and certain time, we can execute the trigger. How do you load last modified file in ADF? So basically what I can do for this is there is an activity called get metadata activity. Get metadata activity is used to fetch a last modified date. Once you get the last modified date, we can filter this to select the most recent file and then you can process it with the help of copy activity or logic. Any specific reason why you preferred Azure SQL database at the target layer? See, specific reason, I would say we wanted to make sure everything is stored in a database for accessing and querying purpose. And the reason why we are storing in Azure SQL database, the data was secure. We have to put a lot of access related grants, revokes, and that is why we preferred to store it in the SQL database. How do you implement SCD? SCD is basically slowly changing dimension where if you want to track the historical changes and if you would like to go with multiple inserts and updates, we can go with merge. The merge is actually implemented with the help of merge command in SQL. And if you're focusing on ADF, in ADF, there is an upsert logic. Can you tell me any specific use case where you can use logic apps instead of Azure functions? Okay. So in case of automating your pipelines, where if you want to execute certain pipelines at certain intervals, in that case, we can go with logic apps. Logic apps comes with some sort of automation, which is equivalent to Power Automate. But Azure functions, it comes with a serverless environment for us where we can go and use it as an environment and it creates a variables for us. Like you can use your coding. If you want to write a Java code, if you want to write a Python code, if you want to write a .NET code, it provides the infrastructure and environment. So that is why we are using Azure functions. Suppose I have 1,000 files from one, suppose I have to copy 1,000 files from one storage to another. How do you do it? So basically writing 1,000 copy activities is not ideal. So what I would prefer is write one copy activity, run it 1,000 times. That is why we have a for each activity. In for each activity, you configure the copy activity and you send the values and automatically it reads the 1,000 file names and it will execute 1,000 times copy activities within one for each. How do you automate a data pipeline in Azure? What tools would you use? For automating the pipeline, basically, I can go with the ADF triggers or probably I can go with Logic Apps. Logic Apps is more widely used because it comes with lot of features. Whatever the source changes, we can easily go and configure the pipeline execution. How do you handle a real-time streaming processing in Azure? In Azure, basically, we have Azure Streaming Analytics. In Azure Streaming Analytics, which captures the data from the IoT Hub, and then we will be able to process it using in the Azure Streaming Analytics. In Azure Streaming Analytics, is all about mapping your uh, input and output, and finally, you will be able to display that in the Power BI. Have you involved in access management? Ideally, no, because there was a platform team and infrastructure team who was actually helping us in creating the access. I was a pure developer who was involved in pipeline development only, but I'm having a fair idea on Azure Active Directory. How do you migrate your on-prem data warehouse to Azure? First of all, I need to figure out what are the tables and schemas that I need to migrate. I'll create a list of files. Then with the help of built-in query, I will be able to read all the table names, column names, constraints, everything. I'll be able to do it. And then I'll be writing a copy activity. With the help of copy activity in the ADF, we can copy the data to the Azure SQL database. And since how many tables we have, we don't know. That is the reason it is always good practice that you put it in a for each. In the for each, you write the copy activity, directly will be able to load the multiple files. Any specific reason why you prefer Spark with Python and not with Scala? Scala is like sophisticated language. It's not that easy to learn. It comes with a lot of syntax, lot of complications. It does not have any predefined libraries. We will have to write the libraries, but data engineering itself, we need to make our work easier. So Python comes with a beautiful libraries and flexible libraries. So that is the reason why we prefer Spark with Python. What are the challenges you faced in your project? Very, 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 very important question. So, in coming to the challenges in my project, data engineering project itself is a challenging project. But if I want to name few, the data quality was the biggest challenge. When I get the data from the different data sources, everything had a different issues, missing values, abnormalities, special characters, white spaces, lot of issues we had. So the cleaning itself is the biggest process. And whenever you're getting the data from multiple tables, we did not also have a common column. We need to have a common column for creating a either a data warehousing system or denormalized table. So we need to have a proper columns. Though that columns mismatch, schema mismatch, not a proper standard way of maintaining, constraints issue. So all of this was the biggest challenge. And one more problem is, particularly in data engineering, what I face is, so the requirements keep changing. So today comes with the clients, gives with some sort of requirements, and again tomorrow they come, they change the new columns, new column names, new features. So this is like when you're doing a data engineering, it's like a building a house. You have built a house half, and then you cannot go and renovate it, right? So it's very hard to break it and build it again. So that's the biggest challenge what we have faced in data engineering. How do you overcome challenges? So challenges, as I was talking about data challenges, the quality issues, the requirement changes and all, we'll create a blueprint. We'll have a roadmap. So this is what we'll be able to do. This is what we'll be able to afford in this release. This is what we will be able to deploy. So we'll create a checklist. And based on this, we'll be able to overcome. And for the data quality, I would request all the source team to take care of the constraints, taking care of mismatch values, abnormalities, special character, white spaces. If can do a filtration from their level itself, which actually can be a less burden to data engineers. Describe a complex project which you faced and how did you overcome it? So when I'm talking about a complex project, the one of the challenging project which I was working is one of the banking data. So in banking, there was a utmost accuracy has to be maintained. We did not have a proper information. There was a lag in the requirements, and the people who had worked before us did not provide a proper legacy system. So there was a lot of challenge involved in understanding the data, understanding the terminologies, understanding the KPIs. The lot of code that has been written, is it really we needed to migrate it? That was the biggest question. We had thousands of logics, we have hundreds of common table expressions, we have user defined functions. So when I say migration, it's not just a lift and shift. You will have to also focus on how well we can optimize it. So that was a very big project that we had, and we nearly took 1.5 years to solve that in analyzing all the logics and taking care of implementation. Explain your approach in troubleshooting Azure data pipelines. So in troubleshooting the pipelines, first I will have to go and enable the monitoring tab, go with a debug mode and execute your activities step by step. That will actually help you to troubleshoot the values. And then finally, you will be able to tackle this with the help of fixing from the root cause. Your pipeline is failed in production, but it is working fine in development. So this is something which could happen in most of the use cases. So what I would do, since I don't have the access to the production, I'll ask my team to replicate the production environment to a pre-prod or create another environment or dump that into a development environment, and then I'll start troubleshooting with the same data, same configurations. I'll try to execute the development pipeline with the production data. That will get me the logs, or I will request for the error logs from the production. Difference between a lakehouse and warehouse, this is actually something which we talk about the recent update called Fabric. Microsoft has come up with a new update called Fabric. In lakehouse and warehouse, lakehouse is like your ADLS, which can used for multiple storage hierarchical namespaces and all, but warehouse, it provides you like a table like structures, like you can go and query it like using a SQL endpoint. What have you done in Fabric? Fabric, it's been into the market from 2023 end, hardly like 2 years. So 2 years, what I've done, I've been exploring all the features, activities. I've done a lot of POC projects. I'll try to replicate my own project Azure in Fabric. All of this I've done. In short, Fabric is super good, but as of now, I haven't trusted yet because it's a new tool. We need to see whether it is going to adopt all the bigger projects, all of this. So yeah, it's just like a wait and watch. How does Fabric differ from the Azure? In Azure, it comes with a one centralized service. You will have about 200 services that what we have in Azure. It's a biggest cloud. But when it comes to a Fabric, Fabric is a flavor of Azure. Only data science related, data engineering related, data analytics related, only those components we can build in Fabric. Whereas Azure, you can even build a mobile application websites, which is not possible in Fabric. Any idea how we can reduce the cost? See, cost-wise, we also figure out like what is the tracking that is happening, how much spending we are happening with respect to each and every service. So we have a tab which gives you the cost analysis. In the cost analysis, what is the forecast happening, how much of cost with respect to resources, with respect to subscription, with respect to services. We can also enable the tags to figure out like how the billing has been happening. All of this I can do it. So this is in order to reduce it, first you'll have to track it. So first I will track it, then I'll check with my team. Then whenever the services are not used, I'll shut down it. For example, Databricks, the clusters could be shut down. It could be terminated. It could be resumed whenever you want. We can go with auto scaling that also can reduce it. So all these are some of the features that I would use to reduce the cost. Do you have any experience in building CI/CD pipelines? Yes, in couple of projects, I was involved in building the CI/CD pipelines. There is a dedicated team called DevOps team, but still I was assisting them in providing the information about the pipelines, retries options, creating the YAML file, providing the service details, subscription details, all of this I was doing. So I was basically helping the DevOps team to build this YAML file. How to secure your key vaults? So basically we'll be using Azure key vaults. Azure key vaults is one of the service which is used for storing your credentials and server details. So that will be really helpful to keep your passwords secure. Can you talk on auto scaling? Auto scaling is basically an option that is enabled on the Databricks. Imagine for a workload, you are defining about 50 nodes. These 50 nodes could be overused or underused. So that is why we go and give a auto scaling. Auto scaling, it's a number 50 to 100. So I can give this number depending on the workload. If the lesser workload, 50 worker nodes will be used. If the work is more, maybe 100 worker loads will be used. So the work will be distributed among 50 or 100. So that's the process of auto scaling. Auto scaling is a very, very good option which dynamically chooses the worker nodes depending on the load. Have you used Kafka? No, I have not used Kafka. Kafka is also a real-time streaming analysis that we can use. So instead of Kafka, we have preferred Azure Streaming Analytics. In Streaming Analytics, whatever your Kafka is doing, we are doing it in Azure Streaming Analytics. The reason why we have used this, Kafka is a standalone application, whereas Azure Streaming depends and resides on the Azure. So that's why we preferred Azure Streaming Analytics. But in case if project demands to learn Kafka, I'm ready to do that. What is the broadcast join in Spark? Broadcast join is basically join when you're joining between the smaller data with the bigger data. Smaller data can be made sure you can put it on the memory and then you can make the bigger data to reside on the disk. So the join between the memory and disk will reduce the data shuffling, which can improve the performance. What is a delta lake? Delta lake is basically a special type of file format that I can design it at the target layer level. So where asset properties could be applicable, where you can also go and change your inserts, updates, all of these modifications could be done. So this is possible in delta lake. Explain parameters and variables in ADF. Parameters and variables. Parameters are like values which does not change to the execution of pipelines, whereas variables can be changeable. We can update, we can append the variable value within the ADF activities. So each has a different use case. As the name says, variable can change the values at any point of time during the execution of the pipeline, whereas parameters is fixed. Databricks with Synopsys, which one you will use? So when it comes to a Databricks with Synopsys, Databricks is a standalone application, is one of the excellent in terms of the Spark code building. Whereas if you talk about Synopsys, Synopsys comes with a one-stop shop. Ideally, Synopsys is costlier and Spark pool is not that comparable with Databricks. So 100% I'll go with Databricks. HT Insight, it's an older tool service I've used in the past, but as of now, I don't remember. It's been almost 4 years that I've used HT Insight. I'm not familiar with HT Insight now. What is the difference between a data lake and delta lake? Data lake is like a storage which you can store your specific files. You can use hierarchical namespace and it's a normal files. Whereas if you go with a delta lake comes with ACID properties where you can go and modify your fail changes, track it, time travel, all of this could be done. But directly on the delta lake, you will not be able to query it. That's why we have delta tables. Delta tables resides on delta lake. What is your current role in your project? So currently in my project, I'm basically taking care of the implementation, pipeline implementation. So I connect with my team, I connect with my clients, understand the requirement, prepare a checklist, and then go with the implementation. So in my role, I'm playing as a data engineer role, who is like mainly I work with pipeline implementation. Describe your day-to-day activities in your project. So my day starts with agile meeting. So whenever we start the day, we usually meet up for a stand-up call. We discuss about challenges, open tickets, open issues. I'm being the responsible person in the team, take care of assigning the task to different team members depending on the priority task, complexity task. I assign that to a experienced person and the key skills. Then focus on delivering the pipelines or work on the tickets. It could be a production issue, it could be a UAT issue, it could be a pipeline issue. All of this we fix it on the ticket basis. On a weekly basis, we solve about 25 to 30 tickets. And towards the end of the day, we also have overlap time with my clients. So we daily meet them on the call. We provide the status and updates of these tickets. How do you do the data validation in your project? In my project, I basically prefer writing a stored procedures which compares an input and output. And basically here we try to collect all the source informations. We compare, it's like an apple to apple comparison. We compare table to table, column to column, validation, schema level changes, all of this will be comparing. And to do this, I have implemented a stored procedure. How do you track your task in your project? Basically, I'm using Azure boards. So Azure board, we can go with tracking all the ticket basis, project basis, what is the estimates with respect to sprint, how many tickets we have completed, what is the efforts that we have put, all of this will be tracked. What is your strength and weakness? Well, technology and commitment to work is always my strength. Weakness, maybe overthinker, that I could consider myself as a weakness, but I'm sure that that overthinking will never affect my project deliverables. Describe a time where your delivery timelines were unrealistic and how did you respond? So there was a project where it was like a complete changeover. The vendor got changed and the estimates was done by another team and then we were the development team. So there's completely not sync. Once we gone through the data, we got to know what are the challenges we are facing, and the estimates was given as 3 months, but ideally speaking, it would have taken 8 months to complete this project with accuracy. So we went back to the client, we provided them the proposed document, we told them what are the challenges, everything in data engineering should be documented. So we provided a document stating that what are the challenges we'll face, what are the hiccups that we have. So all of this we provided, and then we provided the client approval, and even actually it was increased, the timelines was increased from 3 months to 8 months. How do you overcome conflicts with your team? So this is one of the common problem that everyone will have. You will have a conflicts with clients and as well as conflicts with team. So let me tell you how I handle the conflicts with clients. Imagine that you're working with multiple clients. So if you're doing one client's task and you're neglecting the other, obviously there will be a confusion that will be created. So what I do, whenever there is a requirement, I'll start prioritizing the work. So I'll figure out which client's work has been more impact. If there is a pipeline which is impacting 100 people, which is a pipeline which is impacting 1,000 people, I will always focus on the pipeline which is impacting 1,000 people because priority matters. So here I'll be creating a list. I'll be involving both the clients to a meeting. I'll be discussing to them what is the current challenge, what is a blocker, and then I'll be solving one. So that is where communication is a key here to solve the conflicts. How do you solve the conflicts with team? So with team, it's still manageable because it's an internal team. So I'll try to keep my team motivated, focus on one task at a time. So when the resources gets bored, when they're doing a repetitive task, right? So what I do as a manager, what I do as a lead is I rotate the work. A person who's working on SQL will be pushed on to work in the Python in the next ticket. And the person who's working on the Python will be pushed to a PySpark. Like this, I'll rotate the technology. That's where I keep my team motivated. When you have more learnings, obviously the team will be satisfied. How do you handle the last minute changes? See, whenever you have a last minute changes, first of all, we need to figure out, is it possible to afford this change without breaking the pipeline? So if it's anything which is breaking the current task, current pipeline, then I'm not going to afford it. So I'll first analyze a complete thorough analysis, which providing the documentation. I'll figure out whether this could be implemented in my current project. If it is not breaking, well and good, I'll accept it. If it's breaking, definitely I'll talk straightforward to my client saying that we don't want to risk just because of one task. We don't want to break the complete pipeline. So let's look at into the next deliverables. How do you measure the success of a sprint? So if I'm talking about a success of a sprint, so basically here what we can do is in terms of success of a sprint, every 10 days we'll have a sprint. So we'll track how many tasks that we are getting, how many tickets that we are getting, what are the a high priority task that we will track it. So how many resources we have, what is a planned leaves, what is an additional leaves we have, how much of efforts we can put, all of this I'll track. So end of the day to my client, I'll provide the updates. 70% of the work is done, 80% of the work is done, 90% of the work is done. So we provide them in terms of metrics. How do you ensure that knowledge sharing with the team? So as I keep saying that in a project there will be multiple team members, each one will be working on different use cases and different challenges. So always trying to share this knowledge will be helpful, which avoids dependencies. For example, there is a person who's working on certain pipeline, unfortunately is on leave, so no one will be able to take up that work. So what I do on the daily basis, every 30 minutes during the start of my day, just after the stand-up call, I have scheduled a knowledge sharing session. So everyone has to talk about their ticket so that they'll get to know what is the complexity that is happening in that particular project. How do you handle the escalation from the clients or an internal stakeholders? So when it comes to an escalation, escalation is a part and parcel of every project. It's not nothing to fear, but we have to make sure that escalations, you learn something from escalations and don't repeat it. So here what I do, first I'll try to understand where we went wrong, who was the point or who was the reason for escalation. I'll start listing out all these steps, what happened. I'll provide a justification. Of course, admitting is the first thing that you'll have to do with the clients. You'll have to go and tell them why it happened, and we'll also assure them that that it will never happen again. So we have to build that credibility and trust within the team. So that's something which I always try to take care of it. For me, escalations is something which is I never want to happen in a team. So for that, I'll take all the precautions, managing the team, taking more responsibilities in tracking, reviewing multiple times. That's how I solve it. How do you get upskilled? Well, I'm very passionate about technologies. I always keep a tab on the updates that is coming from Microsoft and different vendors. So if there is any new update that is coming in Databricks or ADF, I always have a habit of reading articles and I start implementing into the project. Only then you'll be able to learn. Just like focusing on the updates will not work. So I'll try to encourage my team also to make the changes to my project. How do you motivate your team during the challenging phase? So challenging phase, so there is a saying, you cannot become a best seller with I would say the harsh sea. So obviously you will have to grow better. You will have to face a challenge. More and more challenges you face, better you become. So I'll always motivate my team to take up the challenge, work on the tough projects. So today, very proudly, I can say that I've worked in most of the tough projects, and that's why I'm here. So that's where I try to encourage my team, and cross skilling, that is a person who knows multiple skills, trying to provide a knowledge. That's where something I would try to motivate my team. How do you ensure the documentation is maintained? It's each and every developer's responsibility. Whatever the task they're doing, that same person has to go and work on documentation. I know documentation is a bit hectic work, but still, rule is a rule. Every individual has to go and focus on the documentation, and documentation is a key. I always ensure that every document is being stored at one place. To give an example, if there is a person today, he may not be there tomorrow in the project. So who is going to fulfill his work? Documentation is a blueprint. How do you please describe a situation where you're on a tough project in a time. So there was a time where we had not have a proper deadlines, no proper information was given. We had a lack of information in requirement analysis. The source team was not supportive, data quality issues. We had a lot of challenges, but all this we were able to handle it with the help of process. We followed the process. We talked to the team. We encouraged the team to go and reach out to the source team, provide a complete roadmap. Then we talked to our clients to increase our deadlines. Then we went with implementation. So it's every problem as a solution. It's just not you need to know how to handle it. Please describe. Okay, did you work with multiple clients at the same time? If yes, you manage it. Yes, I got a chance to work with multiple clients. So when working with multiple clients, it's all about creating a document and involving both of them into the meeting while giving the priority to the work. So I'll check with both of them which is a priority, which pipeline has an impact, and then I'll take up the task. So communication is a key here. If you manage the communication, you can manage working with multiple clients. Do you have experience in handling the team? I am not a team leader on paper, but I have handled the team. I have a couple of juniors who are reporting to me. I dedicate the task to them. I track their work. I review their work. So that experience I do have in my experience. How do you plan your deadlines? First of all, I need to understand what is a requirement and how much of efforts we have, how many resources we have. So depending on that, we'll create a checklist. So with 40 efforts, how much work we could done, we could 80 efforts, how much of we could done. So all of this, I will track it. I'll provide the estimates beforehand to the clients, and then we will be having the complete structured plan. What was your roles and responsibilities? My roles and responsibility includes talking with the clients, analyzing the requirements, providing the insights to the team, taking care of the pipeline implementation, doing a cross-skilling, helping the team to grow. So all of this is something which I've done in enough of things in my career. But my main role is working as a developer who works to build, who is actually building a end-to-end data pipelines. How big is your team? So my team is about 8-member team. So most of them are data scientists, data analysts, data engineers, and DevOps engineers and cloud engineers. So I'm the senior data engineer who's taking care of the work. I have a couple of juniors also reporting to me. So that's my team structure. Why do you use Key Vault? Key Vault is basically used for tracking and storing your passwords. And here you are using it for securing your credentials as well. What are the Databricks secrets and how they are used in pipelines? Well, with respect to Databricks, we already have the passwords that is coming from secrets. You need to inform the Databricks that the passwords are coming from secrets. That is why we have to create a scope. And we can use it with the help of DB utils. With the help of DB utils, we can get the secret codes. How do you implement a version control and rollback in Azure data projects? It's basically we can integrate with the GitHub. And once you integrate with the GitHub, in GitHub, we can create a main branch. From the main branch, we can also go with multiple sub branches, and each sub branch could help you to track your work. What is a scope in Databricks? Scope is a process of informing the Databricks that the secret is coming from Key Vault. How do you identify the last modified date or last receipt file in block? So we have an activity called get metadata activity. In get metadata activity, you can scan through the complete storage. We can figure out when was the last receipt file with the help of timestamp. Which process you are following in your project? So basically, in my project, I'm following the agile methodology. In agile methodology, we get the task in terms of a sprint, and we work on a 10-day sprint work. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years and next 5 years? Okay. Thanks for this question. So next 3 years, I would put myself into a more technical role. I would like to lead a team. That's something which I'm looking for. 5 years down the line, one thing what I've understood in the data engineering project is business knowledge is very important. If you don't understand the business and requirements, it's very hard to build a pipeline. So next 5 years down the line, I would like to focus more on the business. Why are you leaving your current job? Honestly speaking, I'm very happy with my current role, but still the work has become stable. There is no much challenging work. To tell the truth, I'm just working for 5-6 hours. I feel like I'm in comfort zone, but I have a potential to work in some of the challenging projects, make myself challenging. So that is the reason I'm looking for a challenging role, and I'm hoping that I'll be getting here. This role requires to work in a different time zones. Honestly, no, I don't have any concerns. All of my experience, I've been working with a lot of clients in different time zones, so I'm not concerned over any time slots here. Are you aware of the job description? Yes, completely. This job is completely aligned to what I've been doing all these years, very much aligned to what is being asked, and that's why I'm here. Can you tell me a situation where you committed a mistake and how did you handle it? One of the blunder mistake what I've done in my experience is whenever there is a meeting happening, I just keep it in my mind, okay, this has to be done. But the next day the client forgets or you may forget it. So this is a lot of situations happen in the client says something and the next day they ask me update. So it was not tracked. That is a day that I decided after every meeting, I will have to send MOM, minutes of meeting. So minutes of meeting will summarize what you have discussed in the meeting so that next time you don't make that mistake. How do you prioritize your work for your team? First of all, when I start my day, I'll go through all the pending tickets, open tickets that has been there in the project. I'll check out which is priority, who is available, what skills they have. Then I will map it. So as a team, we handle this with priority. Do you prefer individual work or teamwork? Honestly, I want to work in a challenging role. It could be individual or it could be team. If I'm working in individual, maybe I'll be tested. I'll have to do all the work. Maybe I'll learn more. If you're working with a team, yes, you can still get more ideas, more thoughts, more suggestions. So honestly, I don't have any preference. I'm okay to work in any role. How do you handle stress? Okay, so stress is something which is part of everyone, but I'll try to keep my stress out over the weekends. I try to focus on some sort of fitness and try to make sure I've been fresh over the week. And I'll also make sure my stress doesn't come to the office, stays wherever it is. And taking frequent breaks, enjoying weekends, those things I do it apart from my work. Share me an example of gathering a complex data requirements from stakeholders and managing conflicts. So once we get the requirement, I take the initiative of creating the business requirement document. I focus on the analysis. I start breaking down the problem. A problem becomes simple if you start breaking down it. So I list out what is the objective, what needs to be done, what is the solution. I list out and then I'll go and talk to my client. This is my analysis. If there is any connection, we can have a frequent meetings, frequent discussions, and then we can finalize one requirement document before implementation. Tell me one thing about yourself which is not there in resume. Probably you will find all the technical skills in my resume. But apart from that, I'm actually a person who likes to write a lot of articles, keep updated myself. I've done a lot of other certifications. And apart from technical, also, if you want to learn something, I mainly focus on sports. I watch cricket. I also have been involved in badminton. So these things I try to keep myself, which you don't see in my resume. If I call one of your previous manager and ask about you, what would they say about you? As simple, I'll tell you both positive and negative. Positive, they'll definitely tell that I'm punctual in terms of my work. I've never ever delayed any of my deliverables. That's one thing you will definitely hear about me as a positive. Negative, probably I'm an overthinker. If there is a problem, I always try to come up with 3 to 4 solutions, which could be an overthinking problem. So that's something which I will try to avoid. And trying to do that, it's not happening. How do you justify that you are the best fit for other candidates? Obviously, for this role, you would have been interviewing a lot of other people. But one thing I could say is I never say no to the technology. Today, you have this framework. Tomorrow, there is another framework. I'm always ready to do that. And very passionate about technologies. And I'm looking for a challenging role, which always challenges myself. And I'm a person who is a very fast learner. I have been involved in multiple use cases. For example, even though I'm doing a data engineering development role, I was also involved in CI/CD. I was also involved in business requirements. I also focus more on the business side. So any work that is given, I always focus from the business perspective. That is my positive. Do you have any questions for me? Yes, definitely. I do have few questions. So what are the challenging roles I can expect from here? And I'm a person who always looks for some sort of freedom in the project. So what sort of freedom will I be able to share the ideas, thoughts? Will I be able to get that freedom here? So that is one thing. Can you talk more on the role? Is it a teamwork? Is it an individual work? What sort of client is this? What is your expectation? How do I see myself if I join this company? How does my first 30 days looks like? What sort of documentation you're following? Which process you're following? All of this you can ask. Okay. Finally, my turn is done. Okay. I'll unmute you guys. You can ask me if you have any questions and we'll just turn around. Let me tell you a few more points. Just before the interview, if you watch this recording and you go, you give the exactly same answer, 100% you'll get an offer. There are some questions wantedly I did not answer. I did not answer Kafka. I did not answer certain things. But you should have heard about how I handled it. That is important. It's not about how many questions you answer. It's all about how you take forward with confidence. With this type of presentation, let me tell you, I have cleared Google interview. I've cleared Microsoft interview. I've cleared banking projects interview. I've cleared JP Morgan project. And I've also cleared Amazon. This is something which I have given my same presentation for the last 2 hours. For the last 2 hours, I completely performed like I was a candidate. If you keep on watching this, it's like you watch a movie, you keep on watching that movie, what will happen? You will start by hearting the dialogues. You'll start presenting the dialogues. When this scene came, when that came, you will only start taking the dialogue, right? Exactly same thing. If you're able to replicate what I've done today, 100% you'll get offer. But for most of you guys may not know the concept. Maybe it was like a rapid fire. I asked the question, I answered. I asked the question, I answered. Those who have learned data engineering may be comfortable, but those who are not learning data engineer, it's actually a point to tell you that you need to focus more on that topic. If you're not able to answer on Databricks, if you're not able to answer on EDF, you're not able to answer on SAS Spark, that is where you will have to focus. The focus has to be given to part where you are lagging. Okay, so the mic is open for you. If you have any other questions, please do ask.
Hi, Santosh.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I have one question. What is the gold file, silver files? So in
Medallion architecture. In medallion architecture, this is the most widely used architecture in a project. We'll have 3 folders. One will be bronze, one will be gold, one will be silver. To give an example, imagine today after class, you're going and buying vegetables. You're buying vegetables from where? Different shops, right? You're buying collectively, you're buying. Once you come to your house, what you do? First, you'll put everything in one basket. That's bronze. That is bronze. What you'll do next? You'll separate it. You'll separate tomatoes, carrots, onions, everything. You'll separate it. Then you'll preserve in fridge. That's silver. That is silver. Then while cooking, you know which ingredients or which vegetables use. Then you gather from the fridge. Then you cook. That is gold. In simple terms, this is the explanation.
Santosh,
Yeah.
Sri here. Thank you for the questions. That's a good moon acting. uh, so, one more thing I just wanted to ask. So, what if in the interview they do deep diving? So, let's say, can you go to the first question around those first 10 questions? Uh, in this, I think there is a. Just can you go down a bit more?
Tell me which topic I'll go it. Like.
Exactly. Let's say there is a. So let's talk about schedules cluster, and let's say you did some configuration. We need to like you said that there was a configuration that we need to do. What if the interviewer says that? So how do you do the configuration? So when you say something, they do deep dive on your description itself, right?
See, for
So,
example, if you
hmm,
talk about, let's say, let me come to this. Okay. So what have you done
hmm,
in project? Okay. So let's say
okay.
you'd say that I've done UDF, like user defined functions. Now they will ask in UDF, what type of transformations you have used. So most of
Yes.
the questions I have related was also like hierarchical only. So I've done it. So what transformations you have done? UDF transformations. In
Hmm.
transformations, I've done some sort of year-on-year calculations. I've done some sort of business logics. Now they will ask, how did you write it? I write it in a data frame. Then how did you make sure that the data frame that or logic you have been implemented, how did you share to someone? So that is why we are
Ah,
sharing as a delta table. So
ah,
it's
for
yeah.
for this it is totally understandable, Santosh. This is clear, but I'm just wondering if there is a situation where you answer the question and you got stuck. So let's say most of all of us are here are from like a career change, right? So we are so like I am from a data analyst background. So I'm from a data analyst background. So let's say what if I got stuck in that point? So let's say there was something that I don't know, and I answer the question, and the interviewer deep dive, and here I got stuck. So what should I do in this point?
See, for example, even while answering, there are
Hmm.
certain terminologies which I did not remember. What did I tell? Let's say I told that I have worked in streaming analytics. So the next question was, okay, did you do it in Kafka? No, I did not do it in Kafka, but I was able to do it in Azure Streaming Analytics. So in case if you don't know also, admit it. Okay, this part I don't remember. This part I have not worked. So I told in the start of the class, right? It's not about how many right answers you do. It's not about how many good answers you give. It's all about how you present it. Even if you don't know, you can still go with I don't know, right? You can tell that, but tell in a such a way that it's not like like I mean you're not like pointing at him. You can simply say that okay, this part I was able to do it in other framework. I was able to do it in Python, but not in PySpark. I was able to do this in ADF and not in Databricks. So like this, you can try to give the positive answer and then give that I've not worked in negative way. That you can tell.
Okay, let's say I gave the positive answer that I've worked in area for a likewise in Python, I would say. So then they'll ask us to write in Python. So okay, as you said, you did this configuration in Python. So can you please go ahead and write it in Python? So at that point, again we need to prove ourselves, right?
See, if you have done means you will tell you have done, right? So obviously you will write it, no?
Ah,
Hmm.
okay, okay, okay.
So you're
Um,
told that I have done in Python and
hmm,
I have not done in PySpark. They'll ask you to write in Python only.
okay, but what if you make a mistake while writing it?
That's fine. No one is here to look at the syntax. You tell the approach.
Okay,
Okay.
you should be confident about what is your approach is,
That's
or
correct.
you should, okay, or you should just be confident about it, and you just need to declare it, whether I know or not know. Simple as that.
Yes. Yes. Simple.
Okay, okay, got clarity on that. Thanks, Santosh.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
Santosh.
Please go one by one.
I have raised the hand, sir.
Yeah.
So
Go
can
ahead.
I go?
Go ahead.
Actually, I have two things to ask. I am not from the data engineering background. I am from Power Platform background. So, will there be any session for Power Platform background like this interview
We
session?
will be conducting. Okay. We have started with this data engineering. Then we'll go with the data analytics. Then we'll be doing every month we are planning. So you can expect any time in the month of March.
Okay. And one more thing. So these things will be thanks a lot, sir, for giving this. Uh, got an idea, even though I don't know the things technically, got a very good idea on the general questions. So will these recordings will be available?
Yes, it will be available in our website. It is also available in our channel, also YouTube channel. You can go and refer anytime.
Okay, okay,
We'll share this file
okay,
after the class.
okay. Looking
Hello.
forward for other technologies also.
Definitely, you will have it. Next, followed by data analytics will be there, followed by data power platform also will be there. So every month you can
Okay,
expect a
okay, okay.
session like this.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
also all these questions we are gathering from our students only, like where they are already facing. We hired a separate team to call you people. Maybe most of the July batch people got a call from us or my team. So to take the feedback from you guys. So during the feedback, we got to know some people during the interview, they are getting stuck in some interview questions. The most of the questions we gathered and arranged this inter session. Meanwhile, similar way, we will continue with the Power Platform, Power BI, Data Science, Snowflake, and all other future courses as well. Very soon, we are starting with the AI Ops and Java Full Stack and Python Full Stack as well from Hyderabad branch.
But it will be
And
available
one more
online.
thing, I'll add on top of the Mahesh what he is telling. See, team, everyone who is attending this session, I would request to everyone, if you are attending the interviews, please share questions in your respective groups so that it is very easy to arrange this kind of sessions in on any platform like Power Platform, Power BI, or any other DevOps, everything.
Sir, one thing you told Hyderabad. So those other sessions will be available online, right? Like this only. I'm not from Hyderabad.
This sessions
No.
will still go with online, but we also mentioned you that there are few courses that we are starting offline. That's what we mentioned.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So
Understood.
see, if you answer these questions and all, we have already completed a 5.5 months course that we have taken in data engineering. Now we are summarizing it. So
Okay.
that course you can either attend offline or online. And then this online sessions, you will be very helpful for tracking all these questions and it will help you present well.
Okay. Great. Okay. I asked because I am a student in the Power Platform branch. That's why I was asked.
Got
Yes.
it. Got it.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
And Santosh, with the emergence of AI, how is the interviews process is getting changed? Is it really changed at this point of time, or it's going to be changed?
Yeah, that's the reason we are also changing the pattern. Before we are facing the AI interview, we developed our own AI interview tool. You can do multiple practices instead of failing in an actual interview. Fail multiple times in our tool. We called a Clear My Interview. It's a completely developed by our KSR team. So if you want, I can share now. Just give me a second. I will share with you guys.
I mean, that is kind of a interview between AI and me.
Yes,
But what
but
I'm
here
saying, right?
I will tell you, compare to your trainer, compare to Santosh, compare to Mahesh, it will evaluate better and it will predict more questions from the your JD. Example, if you are a human taking an interview, I can't give an each and question feedback, but system will give better than a human.
Yeah, understood. So what I'm saying, right? AI is now everywhere. Now
Mm.
they're asking, right? Is there any because of AI? Is there a change in the process? So whatever we discussed, it's the same process, right? Is there
See,
any change in the
what
recent
is
years for
happening is
learning?
since we know that a lot of people are also misusing AI for the interviews, right? So they may ask you to come to office for final round. The initial round screening will still happen. They'll refer your GD. They'll ask this type of questions online. They'll ask you to open your screen share. Like they'll ask you to share your full screen, write the code. Everything will happen. Okay. Only in the last round, maybe they're asking you to come to interview. That also, it is happening only from last year. Before that, every interview, everything was online only. But now slightly they have changed. But question patterns, the way of questions, the scenario based questions, everything will be same only. They are asking to share your full screen, write the code. They're asking to come to office. That's the only change what I observed in the last 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
And
thank you.
one more thing, initial screening, they are taking AI tools nowadays with a more security. So the initial screening, they are not ready to take a human to involve in all the rounds. So initial screening, most of the questions, maybe anyone already faced this one. They will send in a link to take an interview with the AI first.
Okay, yeah,
Because imagine there are 10 openings in one company, but 1,000 resumes are getting to them.
yeah, correct.
It will be difficult to filter all these 1,000 people, right?
Yes.
So system will do it easily. Out of 1,000 people, it will filter around 20 to 30. Out of the 20, 30, then human will involve to hire the right guy.
Okay, got it. And
Some
one technical question, Santosh.
Yeah.
So the testing process, when it comes to testing about the pipeline, right? So how we will be doing it?
So testing, usually if you're going with a Databricks, you'll have to write a unit test cases. This is expected results for this particular, for example, if you have a state as a code, right? You will have a 2 codes, but you should not have any code which is greater than 3. So that's a test case. That's a user story. So you'll have to write all the stories and you'll have to check whether it's happening or not. If it's happening or if it's not happening. If it's happening, there's something wrong with error, wrong with your transformation. So we will have to come up with expected results, expected values, expected queries. You'll have to build a test case. You have a separate testing team actually, but still as a developer, you will have to start counting what is our source count, what is the target count, what is the columns we have in source, what is the target we have, what is the columns we have in target. So like this comparison, it's like an apple to apple comparison. You'll write a store procedure for that. With the store procedures, we'll be able to execute it. This is with respect to Databricks. In ADF, we can create our own like checklist, whether this is happening or not, whether you are getting the records or not. We can debug it. We can debug and we can check it. So both way you can do it. If they're asking this in interview, tell them that you have used one library called PyTest. So PyTest is a Python library which we have been using for writing these test cases.
PyTest will be out of Databricks, right, Santosh? Can we integrate PyTest into the Databricks?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
PyTest is just a library.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Santosh, I have a query.
Yeah.
Can we create stored process in Databricks?
Can you?
Can we write a stored procedures in Databricks?
See, Databricks, you can do it, okay, but you will be morely focusing on Spark, right? So you can still write a SQL code, you can still write a stored procedures, but it has to come in Spark SQL. It's not like traditional what you do it in SQL database. Can I do that same? It's not that same. We will have to make some modifications. We have to write it in Spark SQL.
Okay, if suppose a panelist would ask, can you explain what are the tools you have used in your project? Can you explain end to end your project? So what we have to suppose to give the answer for this question?
That's what I explained, no, in complete introduction. You have to talk about architecture. Where is the source coming from? What are the services you are using? Azure Data Lake Storage, Databricks, Azure Data Factory, Azure Active Directory, Synapses, Key Vault, SQL Database. So these are all the services I'm using. So how is this architecture? The data flows from on-prem, the data flows from flat files, Excel files. I'm collecting in Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory I'm using for orchestration. Then comes for the Databricks. Databricks I'm writing heavy lifting transformations using PySpark. Then I'm pushing into Azure SQL database. This is the architecture.
Okay.
Hi, Santosh.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Santosh.
I wanted to understand that what CAD and CD, in like where we using that part.
See, CI/CD is the final part of a project. Okay, when you are doing finally you have done a project, you will have to push it into production. In real time, what happens? You will have to have three environments. Okay, one will be UAT, one will be development, one will be production. Production is a final project where everyone will use. So you cannot go and write three times. Once you write in development, again go and write same code in UAT, again go and write same code in like production. We cannot do that, right? So what we can do is once you write it, once it is tested, automatically that entire code will be pushed. That is with nothing equal to CI/CD.
Yeah,
So
we have a complete session as well. I shared the link, Santosh, with you. You can share with the people.
yeah, we have a
Great
separate
observation.
session that we have created. We have this complete project. You can go through it. I'm sharing you here. This is the link, and you can go through this.
Anyone apart from the KSR guys, if anyone joined, anyone watching from YouTube, we have a CI/CD session separately around more than 6 hours, and we have a Fabric complete bootcamp around 15 hours. You can just go to our channel, check for a KSR Fabric bootcamp, KSR CI/CD pipelines, or data ops. You will get all those videos. It's a completely free. You can have a pilly. You can check the classes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Santosh. Thank you for this session.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
I
Go
have a
ahead.
technical question. Like, I have a story. I have created a
I'm
DLS
sorry, you're breaking.
for bronze and silver. And
I'm sorry, you're breaking.
is it audible? Hello.
You're audible, but you're breaking. Yeah, go ahead now. Go ahead now.
Okay. I have made an architecture like ADLS for bronze and silver, and
Okay.
I have skipped and I have maintained my gold layer within the Azure SQL database. So
Okay.
I have transformed data using the data flows,
Okay.
and whatever the data warehousing and data marts are, we have maintained within the Azure SQL database. So is it okay to tell?
Yeah, in case if they ask you where have you stored what, you can simply say that bronze layer is for raw storage, silver layer I've done all the transformations, gold layer I'm specifically using for business. So here is where I'm using business logics, I'm doing a lot of transformations according to the business, and from the gold layer it goes to the BI. So this is a flow. If you can see, if you can tell the same way with your project, problem solved.
Okay, then I can skip the data break.
Yes, you have to.
Hello, I am only for the join only for the ADF batch. So I am asking.
You're from ADF batch. You're a
Yeah,
KSR student, right?
Yeah, I'm case student.
But are you data engineering or data analyst?
BI developer. Power BI developer.
So this is for data engineering. No? So in data engineering, Databricks is mandatory. So in your case, what you can do, right? Since you're a data analyst or a BI analyst, you're focusing more on Fabric and Azure, right? You can say the same thing in ADF. I have done a copy activity. The copy activity will be pushing the data from the bronze to silver, which will be in different container. Again, another copy activity after transformations using data flows. You know, already in ADF, you have a data flows and Power Query, right? So
Yes.
using the transformations, you will have to provide something called sync there, right? That
Yeah.
sync, you go and put it in the gold layer. Simple.
Yeah. Actually, I have studied the watermark meta 31 watermark architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, is it okay to explain in this interview?
Is it? Is it?
Yeah. Actually, I feel here you are here explaining the Databricks too. So.
See, this particular session was conducted to make sure you give the complete structure of how to answer. Okay, so depending on this, you can opt it. If you know only ADF, you can frame the questions only on ADF. And this particular interview is data engineering interview. For data analytics, we'll conduct another one. There it will be completely on Fabric, completely on ADF, completely on Power BI. There, I think you will be like more sync. This role, most of the things, Databricks, you may not be aware because it's completely a data engineering side.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Hi, Santosh. First of all, thank you. This was a great session. I come from a recruiting background and I am taking right now the data engineering course. So my question is, should I need to mention my non-IT experience in my resume or how do I move forward with this?
See, for example, let's say my experience is 10 years. Okay. The way I portray it is, I have only 5 years of data engineering. The I will say is I have total of 10 years of experience. In the last 5 years, I've been working as data engineer. That's all. You no need to mention first 5 years is non-IT, next 5 years is IT, in that IT Databricks or ADF. No need to mention. While they question you back, some panels will definitely question what you did for first 5 years. Then you open up. Then you say that, yeah, I worked on non-IT things. I was an HR. I was in the recruiter team. I was in the talent acquisition team. You can tell that. Only if they ask, you tell. Going and voluntarily telling you is like a negative impression. But when they ask, you tell them what it is.
Got it. And do I have to mention in my resume or just to mention the job, the job client name and all?
Your resume should be data engineer.
Okay.
Naukri data engineer, LinkedIn data engineer. You no need to be worried. Like designation is doesn't matter here. What roles and responsibilities you are handling and what skills you have is a matter. Okay.
Got it.
Resume, Naukri, LinkedIn, every the social media document should be like a data engineer. Your official document, maybe your offer letter or relieving letter or pay slip, everything, maybe whatever the designation they put, let it be, keep it the same thing. Don't try to edit or tamper that.
Okay. Thank you.
Santosh,
Yeah.
Sri, yes. So adding to her question, Durga Bhavani just asked, right? So let's say there is a like a customer operation something. So if it is a resume, when you mention or when you share it with a recruiter, data engineer recruiter, so if it is customer operations, what we'll mention the regular operation, sorry, regular roles and responsibilities that we have done before, right? Or it should be written in the perspective of data engineering something.
See, you have 20 years of experience, 15 years of experience, 10 years of experience. Whatever you've done in the past is irrelevant now. No one is going to hire you for previous. For example, in our case, she is working as an HR, right? So HR in the sense, nothing should be there on HR. Not even a single word. What she has done in HR, she has recruited, she has done this, nothing should be there. The complete resume should be only data engineering. Okay. And while explaining, she will tell that, okay, in my 10 years of experience, 7 years I was in HR. Last 3 years, I've worked as data engineer. Since you're going to apply as a data engineer, then you will have to put only on data engineering. In 3 years, what you have done, that completely summarize in your resume.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the resume perspective should be looking into data engineering only.
That's
It should
correct.
not add on
That's correct.
anything.
Nothing
Okay.
should be
So
there. whatever project she has done in the past, or HR, or even a data. Let's say you have done Java developer. Before that, you have worked as a Java project also should not be there.
Oh, okay. So let's say I'm just taking an example. So let's say there is a 2 years of non-IT experience and 3 years of IT experience. So 3 years of IT experience only should be explained in the perspective of data engineering, right?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
You can
The
mention
two,
overall 5, but the entire project
huh.
should be the 3 years only.
Okay, totally understood. So if it is related, it has to be explained. If not, it has to be just kept as a summary.
That's correct.
Okay, Santosh. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
even don't keep it those keywords also like the Java related. Sometimes because of this, it will be misleaded and it will go to the some Java profiles also. Even sometimes the recruiters are technically not strong. They simply thought it's a Java developer profile. Don't keep it any others. Only data and two projects at least. One from banking, another from healthcare. Depends on where you are working. If it is service company, you can keep it. If it is a product company, same your client. But at least two projects. That's more than sufficient. Even you have a 20 years experience.
Oh, no, I get it. No, I totally get it. Yeah, true. So it has to be totally, onto clarity that data engineering it is. So then only it will be picked because most of all these times they are using AI, right,
Yeah.
to pull the resume. I totally get it now. So
Exactly,
it has
sir.
to be totally related into
Exactly.
technology.
Now your name is Subramanyam Srivastava Chaganti, but it's a official name in the document. But your friends may call you Subramanyam. Some may people may call Sri, right?
Ah, it will
Similarly,
get.
here data engineer, you just a data engineer. That's it.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much for that. And do we have any session to prepare? So, as you suggested, I totally understand now how to prepare it. But do we have any session on this
We
for
have a
resume
session for
preparation?
resume building and we have one-on-one mentoring. Actually, our team will take your resume. Initially, you have to be prepared. Later, our team will take the resume and they will call you one-on-one. They will find all your total years of experience. Example, you have a total 10 years experience. Out of that, 3 years in the one domain, 3 years in another domain, and which company you are working, who is your client, same client, only roles and responsibilities we are going to be modified as a data engineer. We will take care about that.
Yeah. Then it's great. Then it's great. And thank you so much for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just simply, if you are a KSR student, you can send your initial resume with the supported data vision. So our team will take care, or else you can text me on a WhatsApp also with your resume. So our team will get in touch with that.
That's great. That's very
Yeah,
great, and
actually,
that's
the
very
resume will
helpful.
take at least 48 hours to finish because we have in a pipeline, right? One by one, we will go with that. On average, we will take at least 40 minutes to finalize one resume.
That's nice
We'll
then.
make sure
That's
there is
great.
no two resumes should be looks like a similar.
Yeah, totally understood. Totally understood. And can I know your name again?
Mahesh.
Oh, Mahesh, it is. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay then. Okay. Thank you so much, Mahesh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When we have this
Santosh.
resume session, sir,
Which batch you are from, Balu?
December batch.
December batch. It's in a end usually because it's an entry question SQL may cover. That's the reason we added your batch as well. So for you, it's in the end. It may take another 3 to 4 months, right? It's yeah, mostly in April end or May first week you will get. If any emergency or urgency you need to prepare, you can send your current resume. So our team will touch you with one-on-one.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions, team? Apart from technical, maybe I can able to help you with these kind of technical questions. It's a completely Santosh call. Apart from technical, I'm here.
Just to add on.
Hi, Santosh.
So, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Santosh Somshekar here.
Yeah.
I have one question. Like in an interview, they're asking like how you're ingesting data to raw or bronze initially, like which tool you're using, how you're ingesting. Those things can you cover a little bit, please?
Where is the data coming from? Huh?
Yeah, where is the data coming from? How you're ingesting into raw layer or bronze layer from the source system?
Source is what? SQL Server. From SQL Server to ADF, how are we doing? Copy
That's from,
activity.
yeah, copy
Right?
activity. But
When it is
other
coming
than
from API, we have a HTTP link. When it is coming with different, for everything in ADF, we have your source, right? You can get it from Hadoop, you can get it from source on-prem, you can get it from SQL Server, you can get it from APIs. So for in ADF itself, you have 90 plus data sources. So with that, you will be injecting, you will be providing the connections, you will be dumping into raw layer. Raw layer is nothing but ADLS. Only files they will dump it in ADLS. Okay, I mean the bronze layer directly. But other things, other files, you already know how to inject. Copy activities there. You just need to configure source. In source, while you create a data set, right? In a new data set, the new data set you would have seen, right? Many options will be there that input. In that,
No,
we
no,
will
only for files, they're asking how you are dumping the files from source system to
files
or
we are not doing. You can
Mhm.
simply say there is a data team who is dumping the data for us.
Actually, I told it will be taken care by infrastructure and platform team.
No, that's correct.
Okay. And they asked, have you used any autoloader to load the data kind of thing? They asked autoloader and all.
Autoloaders, autoloaders, you can say it's a new update. We have still not yet implemented. So as of now, we are progressing with the traditional methods. Autoloader, we'll try to see how it works and maybe we'll be replicating it. But as of now, we haven't done it.
And one more question they asked, like we have a data is coming from multiple APIs with different schemas. Okay, how do you combine those multiple APIs into single pipeline? Because we know how to combine for databases. We have information schema, from there we are getting the different tables name and all. Okay,
Even
but
though
when
even
it
though it
comes
is
to
coming from
API,
API, even though it is coming from API, it is coming with the key value pair, right? So what is a key? What is that key itself is a column. So you will have to convert this JSON into table format. Okay, then let's say we are getting data from four APIs. Four APIs, four different structures, four different key value pair will be there. You first get it to ADLS first. Once you get it into ADLS, now you know what the ADF can do. ADF can convert the JSON into table format. So you see what is common. Then you can join and you can club all the four API data into one table. You don't think as a file, you think as a table. Because after key value pair which is coming in API, you can easily convert into table format.
Okay. For that, which activity you are using to combine files?
Flatten. We covered this, right? You are from morning batch, no?
Yeah, from 8 o'clock.
Flatten is there, right? Flatten, we have done it in Dennis. So there is a component called flatten. And if you want to do it in Databricks, you have explode. Explode function in Databricks. In ADF, there is a flatten. And while reading, if you read a JSON, and then the JSON will automatically get converted into table only. There is a JSON activity.
Okay. And another question, Santosh, since we are following medallion architecture, right? We'll get the data, raw data, and we'll push it into bronze, from bronze to silver, silver to gold, right? Where exactly this delta will come into picture, from silver layer or?
Delta will be on top of gold. That will be part of your Databricks only.
Delta is always on gold, not from silver, from bronze.
Silver also you can do it, but usually which one you will change? Which one you will not change all, keep on changing silver, right? Which one you will keep on changing? You'll be keep on changing gold. So gold only will change. Business analyst will come and ask changes. Data scientists will come and ask changes. So that is where we will have to provide asset properties. So to provide the asset properties only, we are converting as a delta.
That means we'll have two set of data, right? One is from gold to directly to SQL database, Azure SQL database, and we'll
Yes.
create one more copy for delta.
Exactly. That is exactly what we did in Optum. One is going into Azure SQL database. One is going in Databricks Delta table.
And in that case, the BI team will use which one, Santosh? Azure SQL
They will,
database or
if they
delta?
need any changes, they will go and use Azure SQL database. If they don't want, see, I'll give you a food, okay? Whether you to consume it or not, it's your wish, right? Similarly, we'll give the data. We'll give the data in Azure SQL database and we'll give in Delta. After that, what they will do, we don't need. Whether they eat, they don't eat, whether they skip it, we don't need. But both will be usable from them. Data scientists, data analysts will use both.
Okay. In every project, you will create delta, or it's
Yes.
optional, like based on
In
requirement?
most of the projects, we create Delta.
Thank
That
you,
is the
Santosh.
one feature which is very, very important because of time travel.
Sir, I have a follow-up on that.
Yeah.
So, sir, in the ADF also we have that delta feature in the data flow, sir. So, is the both in the Databricks delta feature and the ADF both will work same?
Sorry, in the ADF we have Delta.
Yes, sir. In the data flow, if we use
backend is Spark only, no? Both are same.
Okay.
Whatever you do it in ADF, backend there is always a Spark, right?
No, sir. In the using data flow, at the end in the data flow sync settings, we have to select that delta.
That's what I'm saying. That's only file, Delta file. On the Delta file, even if you're doing a Databricks or if you're doing ADF, you will not go and run anything on Delta file. On top of Delta file, you will have to create Delta table. So Delta table only you will have to go and write the logic, SQL logic, right? So it's Delta file is different, Delta table is different. Delta table you can go and query it. Delta file means in the backend, it will go as a CRN file, JSON file. So a lot of file formats will come, no?
Okay, so both will work same.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Santosh, one last question.
Can we get this all Excel questions?
Everything we will share.
Yeah, thank you.
Santosh?
Sir, with answers.
Yeah. With answers, sir. With answers means I cannot type, right? Whenever you have a recordings, no? You listen
Yes,
this in
sir.
every interview. You go listen this. You will be able to pronounce the same way of explanation. But handwritten notes for this I cannot give. For speaking itself, I've taken 2 hours. If I start typing this, it will take 2 days.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Santosh,
Yeah.
just one question, not related to this interviews. So I started the course and I've been in the middle. So I just wanted to have one more question. So we have the data engineering perspective through the Fabric also, right?
Yes.
So as ADF and Databricks, we have
Yes.
Fabric also that is included in this course also, right?
Yes, it is included.
Okay, great.
You're from which
Well,
batch?
so actually, I took the crash course. Actually, I had another requirement, so I took the crash course actually.
No, from KSR you have taken?
From KSR.
Okay. So then you will have to complete that course and then you can revise this. You will be able to answer. Fabric is also covered.
Okay. Yeah, as I was curious about that. Yeah, then it's cool. Yeah. Thank you, Santosh.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Hi, Santosh.
Yeah.
So assume that one question came from one of the interview. So when you use for ADF for the ingestion purpose, so they are asking that in real time or any project without ADF, have you done any ingestion? I mean, using like Databricks.
No, in Databricks also we can connect ADLS directly, right? We can connect your source systems. In Databricks also we can. If you go to the Databricks UI, right? In the data injection, there's one tab. If you go and click the data injection, directly it will show you. You can import some files, flat files directly. You can connect to external sources also. A lot of things you can do. You can do it. You can use your Databricks for ETL also.
Okay, even you can connect for on-prem server also.
Yes,
no?
we can connect.
Okay. Thank you. And the second question is, for example, not for the interview purpose, this one. So assume that, okay, I got offer and I may join like another 5 days and I can, what are my preparations are, what are the things I need to focus and to go join and another 30 days, how can I survive first initially 30 days?
See, first 30 days, the day you go in, you ask them if BRD, you ask them where are you getting requirements, what is the current project, what we are solving, what is your current project. Without understanding requirements, you directly don't go and ask ADF, okay? So directly go and first check what is the requirement, what they're trying to tell. First initial 1 week, 10 days, read as much as documents. Every project will have documents. Go through the documents. Once you go the documents, you will understand what they're doing. Then go to technically. Day one, don't go and ask, give me a Databricks access, give me ADF access. You will not understand anything. First, ask the business requirement documents. If they're using any Jira tools, focus on what is the tickets they have solved till now, what type of issues they have solved. Understand the client, then only you will be able to solve.
Sure, Santosh. Thank you.
One more thing, Santosh. Are we managing the BRD documents now? Everything is converted into ADO stories, right? So do we?
ADO board, it's only for task tracking, but requirements are still coming in BRD only. Even Friday also, I signed one BRD. So BRD is still there.
Okay. I thought BRDs are splitting into multiple stories in ADO. Is it not?
That's what. But entire requirement will be in BRD. In that, module 1, module 2, module 3 will be there. Module 2 will be one sprint. Module 2 will be another sprint. Module 3 is another sprint.
Okay. Got it.
Any question?
What is the BRD?
Yeah.
Santosh, this is Nagarjuna. What is the BRD means?
Business requirement document.
Okay.
Whichever project you go, every project will have business requirement document.
Okay.
Santosh, for one project, one BRD?
Yes. Please ask your questions.
Sir, I have a basic question.
Yes.
We have to use the medallion architecture, right? We have to move the data from stages, one stage to another stage. So at that time, while the incremental load, how we can tell in interview, sir? In the each stage, we have to follow the incremental load, or how would it would be?
Incremental load will be for table wise. Like if you have one table, for table wise, you will have to create incremental. When it was last loaded, what is the data that has been there presently, that type of things you will have to do.
So it it should involve in every stage.
Correct.
Am I correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So first, for suppose, sir, if we receive the data in the folders format from bronze to silver, after that silver to gold. So can I tell like this? We can. Um, I mean, first I have checked the last modified data from bronze to silver. Then
Yes.
from
For files, you can go with last modified. For the other things, for table wise, you can go with the watermark approach.
okay, that would be in the silver to gold stage.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, Santosh. Neeraj this side. Actually, I have a question. Who will create those watermark and log tables into the Azure SQL?
Who has created a?
Those are the data engineers or?
Yeah, we have to create. No, you are doing data pipelines, you are doing incremental means table will be there. The structures may be created by your DB team, but you will have to tell them why you need them, for what purpose you need, what are the columns you need. That idea you have to give. So design is given by data engineers.
And
Hi,
merge
Santosh.
logic?
Sorry?
Merge logic will also be written by
Merge
the.
logic, you will have to write it. Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, since Santosh is sorry, Mahesh is here. I have one question.
Yeah.
So Mahesh, record session is there internally, like within the cloud, we can able to download
No,
session.
not possible.
Okay.
You can only access through our portal, like only access through our app. Internally, if you're traveling somewhere, you can go and you can download internally only, but you cannot download
The
outside.
videos will be like it's not like a 1 year, guys. You can able to access even after 3, 4, 5 years also. Just why we are taking initially 1 year. I need an intention like within 1 year you should get placed and you no need to be watch again. Even after 1 year you are trying for a job, you are not get placed means I will feel like it's my mistake, like we are failed to teach you properly. Or else maybe any reason from your side. That's the reason it's 1 year. Even after 1 year you can able to access the classes. 3 years, 4 years also.
No. What I'm asking here, like for example, Netflix is there. Within the Netflix, we can
We have an
download.
option for that within the application. Mobile app, you have that option.
No, I have seen. Okay, I will connect with you, Mahesh.
Yeah,
I'm not
usually we
able to
won't
find.
encourage that one because of the some data breach. So, but mobile application, we have some options. Okay.
Okay, I'll connect with you for this one because I'm not able to downloading
Yeah,
for.
better don't download, sir. Please, I request it, sir.
Oh, okay. There is no option.
Yeah.
Any other questions? So we're going to conduct frequent sessions like this, which will happen in the upcoming months. Like next, we'll see a data analytics, followed by we'll have a power platform. So keep a tab on groups wherever you belong to. So this topic, what we have covered today, you may not be familiar with all the questions, but once you complete the data engineering course, watch this session before going for every interview. This will definitely help you in clearing.
Santosh, the Kafka workshop, is it this month?
We'll plan it, okay? We'll plan it shortly. Just
If
waiting for the...
possible, we will plan this month only, guys. Mostly 21. I will confirm your exact date.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, along with this, maybe we have a clear my interview tool as well. You can do multiple practice. Depends on the JD, it will shoot the very good questions. If anyone want to try, I can guide you guys. Ranjan, you want to try? There is a tool.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so let me share my screen. So this is the tool. You are able to see the screen, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you can just create an account, sign up. If you don't have an account, you just go and sign up, give your name, email ID and password. So you can able to create an account. Okay. I do have an account already. I'm just trying now. Or else, if you are able to share your screen and I will guide you, you can take interview directly from there. Are you able to share the screen? Okay.
Okay, so I think I need to exit and join back. I have to give permission to the
That's fine. I will
Chrome.
wait. You can join, rejoin, and I will give the access to the share the screen. So you can share your screen and you can upload, and we will take any one random JD and we'll give a mock interview.
Mahesh, I just have a doubt. Sorry to interrupt. So while you're logging in, I saw something like free trial. So isn't this free or like we need
So
to
three
pay?
interviews, it's a completely free. After 3 interviews, it's a cost. Each interview, it's around 50 interviews, it's costing 2,000. For only KSR students, we have some discount. For that discount coupon, you can write an email to support. They will validate which batch you are and they will give the coupon code to you.
And I mean, I'm not from a batch, I'm from into crash course, right? So still I'll get that, right?
Yes,
That
yes. If
coupon.
you are any student, any batch, any course, anything you purchase in KSR, you will
Okay.
consider as a KSR student.
And how much the coupon offers is like 50% or
More
something?
than that. No, I can't reveal.
Okay, okay. If it is good kind of discount, it is enough.
Very
Yeah, yeah,
low
sure.
discount for KSR students. It's almost 90%.
Okay, okay, then it's cool.
Each
Yeah,
entry will
thanks.
cost hardly 10 rupees for you.
Okay, okay,
Even 10, not 10 rupees, I guess, 5 rupees, I guess. Okay.
okay. That's great then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone able to share the screen, guys, then? With your resume PDF. Keep it in your laptop, your resume PDF. So share the screen and I will guide you one by one and you can take a one interview, at least 5 interview questions. We'll get to know how the system will work.
Can I do that?
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
already
why
I'm
not?
on the
Absolutely.
system.
You can do, sir.
Yeah, so it would be quick because people.
Yes, yes, you
Yeah.
can do it.
Uh,
You are comfortable, right, for video playing also? Because
yeah,
its camera will open. Yeah.
yeah, sure, sure, sure. It
Yeah.
is okay for
Okay.
that.
Go to the clearmyinterview.ai. Go
So,
to,
is my screen visible?
yeah, earlier it's visible. Yeah, it's visible. Just go to Google,
Okay.
clearmyinterview.ai. We are not started SEO and all. It may not easy to catch the website. Interview.ai.
Oh, okay. Interview dot.
AI. Yeah. So you go down little. Yeah, that AI entry hub on the top. No, no,
This.
a little down, little down. Yeah, up. Little. Yeah, that one.
This one.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Login.
Login. Sign up.
You can sign up. Yeah. You will go to OTP to WhatsApp and my email.
Okay.
You will get an OTP to your email. You can check it, sir, from mobile.
Yeah.
Yes, you can also do now. If anyone available, I will give the coupon code today only. Okay. Maybe we can give a try for 50 interviews.
Yeah. So I need to upload my resume, right?
Yes. Exactly. That is resume. Is it data engineer, right? Or data analyst?
Yeah, data engineer it is.
Yeah. So you have any companies, recent companies, JD? Any interview attended recently?
TCS, I think I have attended one.
Yeah, you can take that JD if you have, or else just go to the Naukri and keep take it any random JD also fine.
Sure, better I'll go to Naukri.
Because it will not just in a random questions, it will predict the questions.
Okay.
So example, tomorrow if you have an interview, take that JD and given a 2 interviews, for sure at least 40 plus interview, 40 plus percentage you can predict.
Okay.
Take it experience. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I think we have.
Take the JD. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can copy all this JD. So why we didn't take it up as just a company name? Because the company is different and JD depends on JD. We can expect more questions actually. That's the reason we are not taking the as a company. Depends on the company. TCS may have a different clients. Each client have a different description, right?
Yeah.
You can submit. So now first it will analyze the resume. How much percentage of your resume is matching with the JD? What are the skills are mismatching? What are the skills are matching? It will identify.
Okay. Acha, in that way, you can also modify
Yes,
your.
yes, exactly. You can see your resume didn't mention AWS and GCP, it seems. Lot many things you didn't update. It's maybe not a regular our
The
resume.
data validations, the cloud narrative,
Yeah.
Git API, data security, Kubernetes, Docker. Okay. These are
Yeah.
the missing
So
things.
you can a little top up. You can go to the yeah. So ATS is low because the resume also it's not looks good. That resume, our team will help you with that. Overall score usually I will check it like at least 75% is the good score. Compatibility it's a 75%. It's matching with the JD. That's fine actually. Still. Okay. Now you can go to the you can go to resume interview. We have a two options. One is a technical interview, behavioral interview, and interview practice. Interview practice only topic wise. Example, you want to do only SQL, only Python, you can do. Now we will go with a full interview. Go to the technical interview.
Okay.
Now technical interview depends on the JD. If you want, you can add a project from your resume.
Oh.
Or else if you want to do only interview practice, any topic wise, you are confident with any one topic now, sir, SQL or Python?
SQL works for me.
Yeah, better we can do interview practice for this time then. Go with the interview practice.
Yeah.
Take it your experience.
Yes.
Yeah, MySQL or SQL. Yeah. So topic, any particular topic, if you want, you can take it again, or else just keep it SQL. Yeah.
Okay.
Any, if you want to make it only joins topics, yes, it will ask all joins questions.
Okay.
Here, scenario based, technical, all options. Yeah.
Mahesh,
Yeah. 1 second, sir. Yeah, let's. Yeah.
no, for this thing, directly without uploading the resume.
Yeah, without uploading resume, for practice we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Resume will be like for a complete interview, mock interview. Sorry.
Where were we? Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes,
Mahesh?
yes, sir.
Yeah. So let me get back here. Is this necessary or should I still can continue without turning on the camera?
Yeah, without camera, yes, camera will open. You can allow actually.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's visible.
Yeah.
Start interview.
Yes. You can start record answer. Actually, it will come voice also. Maybe in my system, I'm not able to hear that. You are able to hear, right, sir?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
So I just need to click on record answer, right?
Yes.
So an inner join, if from both the columns, if both the values get matched, those records only will be displayed when it comes to an inner join. When it comes to a left join, all the records that are matching, that are not matching, even though they are not matching, from the left table, they will be included. And comes to the right join, it goes the same, but it's from the right table. Even the records are matching, and the not matching records will be displayed inner left and right, and that is all about joins.
Yeah, you are able to see the text also. I'm not able to see in the screen.
Text means while I was speaking.
Yes, yes, it will come text also in the down actually. I'm not able to see in the screen. I'm not sure.
No, no text just came up. Just it's like it was like doing the audio thing.
Oh, okay. Let me check.
Do I need to answer all the 25 questions now?
No, no, you can submit even one also. Just if you
Okay,
want,
okay.
just later you can take it. Not required.
It's already late.
Yeah, I can
Late.
understand. Yeah. You can just submit interview later.
Sure, sure, sure. And it's taking a bit of
I'm
time.
not sure. Like usually it will come. Let me share my screen and I will show them.
Yeah.
It's can okay. You can submit interview then directly on the top.
Oh,
You can download your video and you can view report. Click on view report.
okay.
Yeah, click on that answer actually. That
This
evaluation.
is
Yeah, click on that. You can see.
okay. Yeah, evolution feedback.
And the evaluation you can check it. It's very interesting.
Uh, the candidate, that's what I'm worried about, struggles with clear consensus. They correctly identify the inner joining returns matching rows and that left range from the respective tables. However, their phrasing is imprecise from both the columns. Gold joints. Okay. Yeah, I
Honestly,
need to
Santosh
add.
also can't help you with this feedback. We don't
Yeah,
have
I
that
mean,
much time.
so yeah, it needs like saying me to add a better technical words and explanation, more better explanation,
Exactly. It
and
giving
more
recommendation as well.
precise. Hmm.
Exactly. Each question it will give the similar way. The positives and
Okay,
negatives, both it will give in the feedback.
this is good then. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
Santosh
helps
may
a
take
lot.
in a mock interview, he can give a overall feedback, not each every question, right?
Yeah, yeah, totally understood. Like it's going precise and into more deep diving. It is for each and
Exactly.
every question also. Got
Exactly.
your point. Yeah,
Okay.
this seems
If you
good.
want to upgrade your plan, I will give the coupon code. You can write it down. Go to the upgrade plan on the top. Yeah, that
Okay.
one triple nine is there, right? You can take it KSR student 199. You will get a 200 rupees.
Okay.
KSR
Okay, sir.
student
Student.
199. It's for today. We just
Okay.
activated. Okay.
Yeah, it is applied.
You can later. You can. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Because if I again click on pay again, it will get expired. I'll
No, no,
just.
no. Yeah, it's up to you. You can stop share screen and you can, if you want.
Yeah, I'll do the payment. Yeah.
Financial terms will be there, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sure, Mahesh, sure.
Yeah.
Just let me stop my screen share. I think. Oh,
Mahesh, you can
shit.
take coding entry also.
Coding we are planning like it may takes time. A few very few soon we are adding like a coding compiler very soon.
Mahesh, did my screen share is got stopped or it's
Yeah,
getting still
it
shared?
stopped soon. It's not there now.
Okay, okay, cool, cool. And thank you so much, Mahesh, for all the help.
Yeah. Any other questions, team? Anyone? Guys, trust me, like we taken almost 100 samples from our old students, like from last 2 years. On average, 42% we are able to predict the questions from the next interview. If you have a JD, because it won't ask random questions. It depends on the JD, it will change the questions. Imagine if you try 10 times, there is no more than the 10 interview questions. 100 questions, you will get it. Scenario based also. You can do multiple practice. For sure, you can clear 4 interviews, 5 interviews also. Similar way, our old students, our previous batch students also cracked like 5, 6 interviews. For sure, they failed almost 10 interviews before getting their first offer. Good thing is data and have those many opportunities. You no need to be worried about opportunities. If anyone said I'm not getting call, it's my responsibility to help you to get a call. It's a something glitch from our side only. Not getting call means maybe resume is not correct, or else Naukri is maybe any issues, or LinkedIn have some issues. Only that reason you won't get a call. But data and have a n number of calls. Let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, hi. First of all, thank you for organizing these sessions. So it's very useful. We are thankful for that. So like the thing is, nowadays, like for data engineering profile, also like they're asking for fabric experience. Like
It's
so,
not now.
as the
It's Ritvika. It's from almost more than 1.5 year. Our first fabric session happened on 1.5 year back, and we are teaching in live for 1 year onwards. Fabric is mandatory now.
yeah. So like as it is new, so obviously someone will have the experience, someone will don't have the experience, right? So at that time, how will face that situations? Like
No,
if
no
someone
one
asks,
have experience in real time. Actually, honestly, it's just a 1 year old baby.
yeah, yeah,
Everyone have a learning experience, not in a practicing experience.
okay.
You are a student of KSR, or like you are not joined any batch?
No, no, I have
No,
not
okay.
joined any
No
batch.
worries.
Yeah.
Like we conducted 3 hours of, 3 days fabric boot camp in YouTube. It's there. It's a 15 hours. You can just go with that. It's more than sufficient to know fabric.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay.
Just go to the KSR YouTube channel, search for KSR Fabric Bootcamp. 3 days workshop is there. Each day 5 hours. Santosh non-stop. He taken 5 hours and every day
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
without
Mhm.
having even a small coffee. Okay, it's
Yeah.
very
Even
nice sessions. 3 days.
Snowflake also they're asking actually for data
Yeah,
engineering
Snowflake
profile.
is a different entity. Yes, Snowflake, maybe if you want, you can add Snowflake also. We are teaching actually Snowflake.
Okay. Okay.
Fabric, yes, you can add. And the CI/CD pipelines, honestly, the future we are coming with the LLM and RAG models. The AI data engineer is changing as a AI data engineer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Mahesh, just
Thank
add
you.
on to her question.
Yes, sure.
So, in now again, I'm just summarizing. In the data engineering course, there is ADF, Databricks, and Fabric, right?
SQL, Python, PySpark, Azure, under Azure, almost every topic, data factory, data bricks, data lakes,
Huh.
and
Huh,
Fabric.
those are the topics. I'm just asking about these tools. These three are included. But if you want to Snowflake, there is another course for it,
Yeah,
right?
Snowflake is different entity. It's a 2 months, it will take only Snowflake. Snowpark, another 20 days. So it's a different course actually.
Okay, okay.
Snowflake
Now
people need a
understood.
Snowflake, Snowpark, DBT, Matillion. Common
Okay, so
subjects will be SQL and Python.
okay, okay. So that's
Uh,
another new entity. So that's a
yes,
new other another new program.
yes,
Okay.
yes, a different program. Usually you will use a PySpark here, right?
Hmm.
They will use Snowpark.
Yeah. Understood. Clearly understood. Yeah.
Some concepts, good thing will be around 30 to 40% concept similar, like Azure or AWS, those people also required. SQL and Python is mandatory. PySpark and Snowpark also almost similar.
Okay.
The rest, Snowflake is completely different.
Okay. Okay. Understood,
Who
Mahesh.
are multi-cloud data analysts from KSR, they can add only Snowflake, that's sufficient. Snowflake and DBT.
Okay.
These two topics is sufficient to become like a multi-level data analyst.
Understood.
Hey, sir, that
Yeah.
AI interview prep we will
Hmm.
get free for December batch, or else we need to
Yes,
buy
yes.
that much.
Free means it's around 200 rupees, sir, for KSR students. Any student of KSR, you can get it at 199 rupees.
Okay.
Okay,
So
I'm
could you
texting that
could you
email.
please share that link
Yeah, interview
in
link you
chat?
can try first 3 entries. After that, you can write an email to support if you want to buy. So we will give it the coupon code.
Yeah. Could you please share that link, sir?
Yeah, I'm sharing. Santosh, could you please text with them? I don't have access. I will post in our group also, Balu. No worries. December, right? You are in?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me share with in the group. Yeah, I sent in the group. It's my text time. I will send in the group also. Yeah. Hope all good, right? Maybe you can just post your queries, any questions there, even in the YouTube chat. Also, you can we keep it there as a comments. So we will validate and we will take one more session on all those questions, guys. Who are watching in YouTube, you can post your comments, like your queries as a comments. So we will get back to on those comments again. Thank you. We'll meet soon. Santosh, you can
Mahesh, sir,
close the session. Yeah,
uh,
validate.
sir, we have any review questions of Naukri profile and LinkedIn profile reviews, sir? session,
Yeah,
that session?
placement cell session, I'm handling every alternate day, right? You can join at that time and you can take the reviews also.
Yeah, okay.
So in KSR, we will conduct placement cell session every alternate day. So happily you can join, even the day one also you can join, or else after course completion, even after 3-4 years also you can join if you need any support. Example, you are not getting calls, you are getting calls but not scheduling calls but not able to clear. So all kind of any support, you will get it there. You can join and you can ask me. Mostly I only will handle. When I am not available, our team will take care about that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Mahesh, sorry for again.
No,
This page got expired just now.
no worries. That coupon will activate again. Maybe you can pay, or else after this session.
Can you tell the coupon again?
Yeah, is KSR student
Student
199.
Student 199. Okay. Yeah, it got applied. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, guys. Then, we'll meet in another workshop very soon. Mostly that Apache Kafka workshop. We will come back.
Santosh is still there?
Maybe we can wrap up session, guys. Any questions you have with Santosh to share?
Yeah, I have one question, sir. So else I can ask offline.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Guys.
Mahesh. Yeah, thank you, team.
Thank you, Mahesh.